Welcome to another live stream of the Hard Rock Show. I'm Andrew.
Tim.
Got a bit to get through as always. Tonight we're going to review the latest from Meshuggah, the Hellacopters and Hellz Abyss. We're going to go back to a classic from Foreigner as well. Got new singles from the Black Skeleton, Powerwolf, Striker, and Tease to talk about. We're also going to discuss what excited us in March and what's coming up in April that gets us sort of going for it. And then we'll play a bit of overrated, underrated when it comes to the Grammys. There's all sorts of stuff, so make sure you give us your thoughts, say hi, all the usual stuff in the comments, and that's what's coming up. Before we get stuck right into things, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, all the usual things everyone gets you to do. Everything you need to know about that is in the description box of this one, whether you're watching live now or tuning in later on. Just hit that description box and like, follow, comment, share, all the usual shit. And what else we got? Make sure you check out our fantastic sponsors as well. A big thank you to Squidding, Scrimping, Alt Cot, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description box. If you can find them, give them a follow, a like, a share, all that sort of stuff. It's greatly appreciated by us here as well. But yeah, make sure you get in the comments. Make sure you say hi, all the usual stuff as well. If you are on Instagram, just remember that the comments there don't come through on this platform. So if you do want to leave a comment and you are watching on Instagram, make sure you jump to a different platform to do that. But before we get stuck into things, let's do the rounds. There's only Tim and myself tonight. So, Tim, how you going?
Yeah, pretty good. Just, getting through the week, working hard. Then, yeah. I've got tomorrow off, though, which is good. So,
nice.
Look forward to that.
Cool.
Yourself?
Yeah, good. Flat out, as always. Work is going off the fucking wall. So, it's just like that. That's just nonstop now. It's just go, 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 go. But around that, everything's pretty good. Not much to complain about, to be honest. Nothing. Everything's all right. Just the funny thing now is at this time of year, you start launching into Easter, which means production deadlines get a lot more crunched for me. This is like the second half crunch aside from the end of the year. So we'll see what happens. But so far, so good. Everything's on top of things. We've got some things ahead of schedule, so it should be okay this time around, which will be a nice relief. I've done a lot of cramming this week behind the scenes. So in terms of TV production and getting things ready for streaming and writing reviews, and I've been cramming a lot behind the scenes. This week is a week that I'm punishing myself to make it easier for the next few weeks coming up. And so far, so good. It's all looking all right. But yeah, nothing to complain about. Everything's pretty good. Just busy, and busy is good. What do we got here? Got some people. So Andrew over on YouTube saying, hello, looking forward to your review of Hellz Abyss, big fan. Well, it's because of him posting in the lounge that we know about it. So credit where due for that one. So we're looking forward to going over that one ourselves. Conrad on Facebook going, hey guys, good to see you again, buddy. Hope you're keeping well over there. Same with a little cheeky Nikki here. She's on Facebook going, hello lads. So good to see you, Nikki. Hopefully having fun. I'm glad that the stuff with Elaine got sorted out too earlier on. That's awesome. So good to see that. I saw that go through nicely in the end. Over on Facebook, Megumi's giving us a hello there. So good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us once again. And Keith, Autism, going, yo, good to see you, buddy. Hope you're keeping well over there as well. All right. While people keep scrolling through, make sure you say hi, give us your thoughts on all those things as we go along. Make sure also that we'll share links in the comments as we go through, but whatever we're going to talk about tonight will also be in the description box as well in a lot of different respects. So here we go. Let's start off with the first single of the evening. I guess we'll just sort of get stuck straight into it. This is the latest from the Black Skeleton. So there is a link now in the comments. It's in the description box as well. The band is the Black Skeleton. The song is Out of Our Minds. This is the latest single from the project of Quinn Gardner Kane of Def Rum and Dave Leslie from Baby Animals. And there is an EP on the way, but I don't know when that's coming out at this point in time. So there's nothing there ready to go for an EP. How'd you go with this one, Tim?
Not a thing.
No?
No. Look, this is, I think, is borderline ridiculous. I think this sounds like a Christian. This sounds like a Pentecostal worship song.
Wow.
Being sung by the South Park voiceover guy.
Oh, fuck me.
Okay. You know the guy I'm talking about. Rob Schneider is a stapler. That guy. It's just a cheesy song that's oversung to fuck.
Wow.
And I cannot take it seriously. This is fucking ridiculous.
Wow. We're off to a flyer. Straight out of the gate.
I'm in a mood tonight.
No one is safe, I'm assuming, Tim. This is going to be interesting.
Oh, no one is safe tonight.
All right. Well, we've kicked off with that one. I actually liked it, so I'm going to go the opposite side of the coin. At least we're going to have some differences of opinion tonight, which is going to be good. So that's a good start. No, I enjoyed it. I like the more sort of smoky bluesy tone of it overall. It's a much more, from what I read of it, it's a more personal sort of project for Quinn, and I think that shows in the song, the subject matter, the lyrics, that kind of stuff. It's more of an acoustic based kind of track, so it's a bit of a slower one. But
which is why I honestly feel a little bit bad saying that, because he's obviously pouring his heart into it.
Yeah,
but he's done it in such an over the top way that it's just laughable.
See, I didn't get the over the top feel. I thought it was just earnest and heartfelt. I didn't go to the extra step that you managed to take.
Keep in mind, I listened to Powerwolf straight after
that. I'm curious,
and I still thought this was over the top.
I'm looking forward to seeing how we go with Powerwolf in a minute. Look, I liked it. So you're going to get a bit of a toss of the coin response here from the two of us. So take your pick and let us know what you think. If you're more on Tim's side, if you're more on my side. But that's a really interesting one. I'm curious to see what the feedback is. I enjoyed it, and I think the last single beforehand was good too. This is not Def Rhyme. If you're thinking you're going to get anything like Def Rhyme, just forget it. It's nothing like that. It's also nothing like Baby Animals either. So it's a different project for each of these guys. And I enjoyed it. I didn't mind it. Maybe this is an interesting comment. Why? Hang on. Nikki's just gone, lol, Tim is very honest. And yes, we know that. And that's what we love. The point is to be, we don't like to tell fibs. We like to tell the truth. And that's how it works. And sometimes just straight out of the gates, it goes whack. And that's what Tim's done today. But Conrad's made a point. He's saying it has a bit of a Tea Party vibe to it. What do you like Tea Party at all, Tim, or?
I don't know Tea Party.
Okay, it's an interesting one. Yeah, so Tea Party I'll have to play some stuff later on, but I like them a lot, which may be why I like them. But it's a bit more of the reminds me more of the slower kind of stuff of Tea Party if you're going to go down that path. So yeah, that's a fair point, Conrad. I'll pay that.
Andrew, I think it sounds like American worship music, like mega church music.
Ooh, I don't know if I go quite that far, but okay. It's a weird one. I don't know. Andrew says he liked it. So there's another one there. So don't know. But yeah, I didn't feel that. Wow, straight out of the block. You've caught me there. It's like bang, just whack. But that's cool. Nikki's got it as always. Nikki's gone, can't love everything. We all have different tastes, and that's exactly how it works. And that's why we have different people on the show doing what we do here. But that was a good start. I'm looking forward to seeing where we go next. Okay. Here we go. Belle, good to see you. I hope you're keeping well over there. She's gone, hi, guys. Good to see you. Wow, Tim Harsh. I thought this song was gorgeous. So there we go. Tim, so far, you're in the minority, my friend, but we'll see how things go as the night progresses. Let's move on to the next one and see how we go with this one, considering you thought the last one was a bit ridiculous. Next up, we've got Powerwolf, which if you're going to go down the path of ridiculous music, this is one of those bands you might take that tone with. So this is Powerwolf. Sainted by the Storm is the new single from the band. This is a standalone single. It comes less than a year after their new album, Call of the Wild, in 2021. So, yeah, let's get into some power metal. It may or may not be ridiculous. Tim, was it?
The best review of Powerwolf I've ever heard was from Brendan for the last album, where he goes, Powerwolf from Germany. It's definitely Powerwolf from Germany.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, isn't
it? And that's basically it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, if I actually think this band is awesome. And I think, ordinarily with power metal, I would say, if you like it, cool. If not, there is not much that's going to change your mind. I actually think this band has some tracks that may change your mind. But this track is not one of those.
True. Yeah, that's true.
This is leaning straight into like the power metal core, and it's very over the top. It's very ridiculous. Mm-hmm. If you like the band and you like the genre, you'll get a huge kick out of it. If not, it's definitely not going to change your mind.
Yeah. I think in this one we're going to be in agreement. I like Powerwolf as well. As far as the power metal bands go, these guys are definitely one of the better ones. And yeah, like you were saying, one of the more easily accessible ones. They're a possible gateway band in a lot of respects because there's something about them. They've got the catchy side of things just right without it being over the top in how it all goes about. If you're a fan of the band or the genre, this will appeal. If not, this is not one of those gateway songs. This will do nothing to change your mind. It's got great energy. It's got a big hook, as you expect for the style. It's got that whole galloping thing. But what I find remarkable about these guys is how they, for a genre that's so oversaturated, these guys never make a song that's tiring if you're a fan. If you're not a fan, it won't change your mind. But if you like this band or like the style, these guys never write a dud track or anything that seems tired or stale or boring. They just always have a knack for making it interesting. This song does that, again, expressly for fans, but it is worth a listen to. I think it's a fun track. It's well done. I was curious to see if there was any more sort of new music coming so soon after the last album, but no, this looks like it's just a standalone sort of maybe a leftover track. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good, fun track, worth a look. If you like power metal, give it a go. If you're a fan, if you like power metal and haven't checked out Powerwolf, you are missing out. I think that's one of the better bands in the genre for mine. So this might be a good little starting point for those that are in that boat. Rowan's here over on YouTube giving us the horns. Good to see you, buddy. Hopefully you're keeping well out there. And Conrad, again, I saw these guys in London. They were brilliant live indeed. They would be fun live, I reckon. They would be a great band. Have you seen them, Tim? Because I haven't.
I have not seen them, no. Very jealous of that.
Yeah, no, I'm jealous. I would like to see this band live. Alrighty, next single. We're going to keep firing on through these ones. Next up is the latest from Striker, and we have to thank Lee for making sure we knew about this one. Lee was the one that brought it to my attention, so thank you for bringing it to me. Band is Striker. The song is Strange Love. This is a new single, their first this year and their first since Death Wish in 2021. There's no new album or anything, but I think there's a tour kicking off either tomorrow or the next day, depending on where you are in the world. And there's one more song to come out of this session of like they did 3 songs at the same time. There's one more song to come out of this little session. So bit of an interesting one. How'd you go with this one, Tim?
Interesting, because this is one of those bands that, like, for the show, they're a bit of a long time band for a lot of people on the show. And they are in that kind of Euro rock style, but a bit on the heavier side. Yeah. But I actually found this a little, because I was thinking about this with the style the other day, because it's been going on for close to 15 years now. It's been a thing. And there's going to become a time where bands, because it's also a very limiting style.
Yeah.
And there's going to be a part where bands either accept that they're just going to be doing the same thing over and over again, or they're going to try to branch out, and results may be hit and miss.
Yeah.
And now I actually thought this was a really good song, with the exception of that fake bongo sample in the verse.
Oh, fuck, I love the bongo touch.
That shit me to tears. Oh, and it's that fake keyboard, like Casio sample too.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't even get real bongos. Come on.
I thought it was good.
It was just so out of place, and it was one of the. And that's what I think. It was one of those things where they're just like, let's just try something different and see how it goes.
Yeah.
And I just did not think it works. But apart from that, I actually thought it was a great song. So if you can either get past that or enjoy that, there's a lot to like about it.
Yeah.
Especially because, like, I was listening to it in my car. I was driving home from work, and like on the freeway, and you know when you see car, your speakers are really far apart.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing these bonkers flying around.
I had it on. I had the headphones in, the ear pods, and just fucking just went hard panning left and right. Just went, whoa, hang on.
They're really hard panned.
Yeah.
It's like, outside of those, those 3 hits.
Yeah.
Great song.
Okay.
I would have dropped that.
Yeah. All right. See, for me, I didn't mind the bongo touch. That got my attention. It was like, that's different. And yes, it is different. It does stand out for, maybe the right reasons, maybe the wrong reasons, depending on your taste. But yeah, I enjoyed that little touch. It's not over the top. It's only like 2 or 3 times in the whole song. But it's just a little accent point that I thought was a clever, like, it is definitely hard left, hard right, and it goes across the spectrum as you listen to it. So it's definitely got that whole 3D, like you were saying in your car, you fucking, whoa, where'd that, it is all over the joint. Yeah. Imagine that in like a 5.1 mix. That'd be interesting. But
oh man. Nuts.
But yeah, no, I liked it. But the overall, aside from that, the song has great energy. I love the riff and the lead work in this one as well. And the rhythm, the way this one moves, I thought there's just something. This is a really infectious track. Like if you're into the style of music, if you're into that, if you want your 80s infused sort of melodic hard rock, which is a bit more edgy, this one's got a bit more bite to it than a lot of the other ones do. This one definitely moves. It's infectious. It's got a really good energy, and the hook with the chorus, you can hear it in your head straight away, and it's just a great hook with great energy. And it's one of those songs that gets stuck in your head. I'm not tired of listening to this one at all. I think it's a fantastic song.
And that pre-chorus as well is like that.
Yeah.
That builds. It's just perfect.
Yeah. The way it, yeah, like you said, the way it builds and the way it, goes down and then builds up again, like it's a really well written song and really well performed. Like I think from top to bottom, it's very well done. If you're a fan of the genre, give this a go. If you're a fan of the band, this should make you happy, I think. Like you said, Tim, it's a band that a lot of us had a lot of love for over the years. I think that I don't mind them branching out and trying a few new things, especially in this context. It's 3 new tracks and they're just having some fun with it, kind of a vibe. So take of it, for what it's worth, in that regard. But I think it's a cool song. Well done. I enjoyed it, even with the bongos. So there you go. Take that and see what you think of it. Don't worry, Tim. You're not alone this time, though. Just going back to Powerwolf for a second. Andrew's gone, was unaware of Powerwolf. Didn't mind this one. We'll check him out. Cool. If you like that song, you'll probably like the band, Andrew. So there's a good reference point for you. But here you go, Tim. Here's one for you. Conrad said that fake sample bongo was infuriating. Burn it. So
I could not do it. Even like going into the second verse, I was like tensing up, waiting for it.
Yeah. Andrew says I could have played real bongos for him. Yeah, he's got quite the collection, Andrew does. So that could have been.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Here we go. Keith says, Christ on a stick. Anyone can play the real bongos. So there you go. Not bad.
And yet they didn't.
Yeah. I don't know why it was done that way, but hey, I didn't mind it. I think it ties in with the synth tone. But anyway, whatever. Nikki says, going back to Black Skeleton for a second. She's gone, I got a Nick Cave Wild Rose vibe on the Black Skeleton. That's a pretty good comparison, actually, Nikki. Yeah, if you're into that stuff, that's probably a good reference. Not bad
I feel like that proves my point.
Of course, yeah, it probably does for you, but for me, it's probably why I enjoyed it. So there you go. Lee, here you go. Thank you for bringing this song to our attention. He's gone, love the Striker single, fake bongo and all. I knew you liked it. Thank you for bringing it to our attention and good to see you.
Oh, it's a cracking song. It is a cracking song.
Great song. Despite the bongo, the song itself is fucking phenomenal. Alrighty, one more single to talk about. And this is the latest from Aussie band Tease, who features a member who's been a long-time follower of ours in Tyler. So this is Tease with No Through Road. Again, link in the comments and in the description box for all these songs. But Tease, No Through Road. The video itself has clocked up over 23,000 views on YouTube already. So well done to the guys. Not bad for a little Melbourne band. There's already a new single on the way after this one. If you enjoy this one, their new one is coming out on Friday. It's more synth-heavy, though, apparently. And like I said, Tyler has been a fan of ours for a while. We've covered a few of his projects over the years, and this one is the newest one he's been attached to. So, Tim, how'd you go with this one?
I thought this song was great.
Cool.
Really well-written song, great catchy hooks. There's nothing... it's not particularly flash or anything like that. It's just a good, well-written song, recorded really well, with a nice tones, nice everything. I thought this was a really well worth a listen. And to be honest, I think most people who are watching along right now will enjoy this song.
Yeah. Yeah. Is that all you wanted to say about it there? Or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that's all right. This one, having followed and listened to Tyler's stuff over the years, like he goes way back to when Jimmy was playing in Dead Star Renegade, and he'd go down and see the acoustic sessions underage. Like he's been following things we've been doing for a long, long time, and it's good to see him maturing as he goes through the process of being through a few bands now. And I think, without word of a lie, I think this is the best thing he's done yet. It sounds great. It's got a little bit of a Skid Row vibe to it, and just the energy, the way it moves, the tempo of it a bit. If you like anything, from that to the sort of Sunset Strip to the melodic rock kind of side of things, you're going to enjoy this one. If you like it melodic and riffy, this is going to hit the spot. It's got great energy. Another great hook in this one. I love the mix. This sounds fantastic. Probably the best mixed thing I've heard from Tyler as well. And there's a great solo in this one too, a great guitar solo. So, this has everything you want from this genre of music. If you like hard rock with melody, this is going to hit your sweet spot. And I think, yeah, like you said, Tim, a lot of the people watching us, paying attention to what we do, are going to enjoy this song. This is one very much that our core audience will enjoy, I think, in a big, big way. This one, Tyler, if you see this, fucking well done. This, like I said, is the best thing I've heard you do yet. And the way the song is written, performed, and captured is brilliant. And I'm keen to hear much, much more as soon as possible. So, yeah, this is a really good track and thoroughly, thoroughly recommended to anyone and everyone out there tuning in and watching us with this little stream tonight. So there you go. We've got 2 thumbs up out of us for that one. Dean, good to see you, buddy. He's going, hey, guys, hope you're both well. We are keeping well. Hope the same for you. Nikki, fucking love the Tease song. I knew you'd enjoy this one, Nikki. This is definitely... there we go. Andrew says, Tease, another local. Yes, they are. Band will be looking to catch and shoot live. Definitely. Well, yeah, please do. And if you do get the photos, make sure you share them in the lounge too, buddy. I love the people that are sharing the photos in the lounge of late. That's been great. Nikki says, opens with a shred, had me at hello. So there we go. That's one of those ones for Nikki. But yeah, Conrad says, has a Skid Row vibe to it. Nice to see young guys playing this style of music. So there you go. All around, very positive feedback. So good to see this song getting a lot of love as it deserves. All righty. I'm going to... here we go. Bell says, yep, the Tease song was catchy. Oh, it was great. Catchy as fuck. So yes, definitely. It is a very infectious song. I love the energy and the hook in it too. That's really, really cool. I do have a gig plug thing here, but it's more to do with I'm going to read this out a bit. There's a video. I'll put the video in the comments, which is a bit of a different one. This is for community television for Channel 31, Channel 44. This is a video they put together for a bit of a fundraising campaign they've got going here. So the whole thing here for Channel 31 is to get 31 by 31. So we're looking to raise $31,000 by May 31st. Do you love Channel 31, have a favorite program you just can't miss, or even a favorite Channel 31 personality? If you love your local community TV station, Channel 31, now there's a way you can show us. Donate as little as you like or as much as you can spare. Your contribution will help us reach 31 by 31 and helps Channel 31 make more of the quality, quote unquote, from us in particular, TV that you know and love. So please head over to Channel 31's website. The details are in the video, but also I'll put this link here too. I'll put this into the comments as well. It's just a quick little plug to say that, you know, like what PBS and that do every year, I think this is their sort of new way of doing things. So they're saying stay tuned to C31 or stream anytime from any device at ctvplus.org.au. But if you go to that sort of stuff there, then you'll be okay to get it done. So yeah, give now. Actually, there's the link right here. All right, I'll put another link in the comments. Sorry, guys. This is a bit of a haphazard what I'm throwing together. I'll do more on this in due course, but there's givenow.com.au/C31 fundraising. That is the link to go to if you want to spare anything at all you can to help out with Channel 31, helping them get to 31,000 by 31st of May. Having been to the offices, everything's good. It's just, yeah, you can see how much. It's funny. This is going to sound negative, but it's not, because going back to as the years have gone by, which Tim, you've been a part of it now, how many times we've gone through the ringer of being switched off and all that kind of stuff, and how much that's impacted funding for community television, the business model, that kind of stuff, and how hard they've had to fight just to stay afloat. Having been in the big offices they had before, and it's slowly sort of, you know, downsized, which is not a problem. It's all good. Everyone's doing it anyway, kind of thing. But just seeing over the years that kind of shift in things, you know, anything you can do to help out is greatly, greatly appreciated. Not only by us, but also, of course, by the network. And also, you know, for that matter, Channel 31 has stuck with us for 10 years now on TV. This is our 10th year on television. Work that out. Fuck me. So, yeah, we have a lot of love for Channel 31. So just if you can give them any help at all, every little bit counts. So just, yeah, dig in, and whatever you can spare is greatly appreciated. Nikki has put in a comment here saying, support Channel 31 if you can. They give us a platform along with many other diverse shows. That's the point. You won't get anything like on Channel 31 on any other network in Australia at all. I mean, no one else took a punch for starters. And they let us get away with fucking murder. My God. But just, it's a great
literally
platform. Just about. But it's also a great platform for a lot of other shows, and there's always new stuff going on. So it's one of those things, like, to just as a backstory,
Not just that, like the next great presenters are going to probably start out on something like this.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
You can exactly, the experience is priceless, and the amount of guys who are big time presenters on the big networks that started out on community TV, like is pretty much all of them.
Yeah. It's not only that, it's also the interns that do the behind the camera stuff and the people that are like the last time when we were there with Dave and we've done the little promo stuff that's been going around. We were there and like the guy doing the camera was also one of the sales reps and all that kind of stuff. So there's they're all double tasking and all that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where any help you can do is greatly appreciated. And it's not as though no one's pulling away. They're all working bloody hard over there and love what they do. And yeah, any help you can do is greatly appreciated because it's not only about us, it's about all the other shows. And also if you have a show idea, it's one of those networks you can just pitch it to and they will listen. They'll hear you out. They'll give you feedback what you need to improve upon before you can get broadcast and stuff as well. So, there's no gatekeeping in it. It's just, if you want to get access, just work on a show, make it good enough to meet the standard they require, technically speaking, and then off you go. So yeah, and we got Conrad here. He was saying, I used to present a music program on Channel 31 on their breakfast show many years ago. So, there's a few people over the years that have been a part of it. Wayne from Volvagun was on there as well. It just goes on and on and on. Also, Nikki says, Ripple Effect. How many bands, CDs do I now own after discovering them on the show? And that's just me. And that's the point to it. The amount of people that tune in, watch the show, and then go and buy something they found by watching us. The amount of people that found us by channel surfing is nuts. That story never, ever gets old. Yep, that's a case in point. That's how it works. But anyway, give if you can. The link's in the comments. Go and check it out. Sally's saying, hey, guys, sorry I'm late. You're always welcome. Good to see you. Better late than never at all, and I'm glad you're here with us. And Audio Rain, our good friends over in South Australia. Rock on, lads. Good to see you. Hope you're all keeping well over there. All righty. Tonight's hot topic.
I'm going to South Australia soon, actually.
Are you?
End of the year. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Anything in particular or just a time away?
Wedding.
Ah, nice. Cool. Not yours, I assume.
Oh, God, no.
Figured I would have heard something about that by now.
God.
Bit of fun. All right. The hot topic, which, you are unprepared for.
One of the best jokes I've ever heard is Jerry Seinfeld going like, I like the idea of marriage. I just can't believe how often it happens.
Well, it's one.
I think I'm in that category. It's like, really? People want to see the same person every day? I like seeing myself every day.
No, yeah. Now say that when you do all the editing of what we do here, and then you'll know the echo chamber that I live in. So,
no, yeah, you have to deal with this all the time.
I do. So, getting married for me was a no-brainer, I guess, in the end. No. All right. Sorry. Got more comments. Andrew's got so many photos. Thanks to you guys. That's awesome as well. Tease have said, hey, thanks for sharing the track, lads. You're most welcome. Well done on a cracking track. Good to see you with us tonight as well.
Very good song.
Yeah, wicked song. Well done. Be proud of that one, boys. You've done a great job with that. Lee says, my wife still thinks I'm crazy for watching you guys. So there you go. People still watch us. I love that people still watch us. It's great. And Nikki goes, it's a fucking ripper about the song there. I'm pretty sure she's replying to the comment from Tease there. But anyway, like I was saying, Tim is as unprepared for this topic tonight as he is for marriage. So he's going to try and bounce off of the ideas that I've got in my list as we go through things. So tonight's topic is go have a quick look and see if you can find anything at all.
I'll find something.
You'll find something. But tonight's hot topic is what we do this at the start of every month. What impressed us in the month before and what are we excited about in the month coming up? So basically for this time around, it's what impressed us in March and what are we looking forward to in April 2022. And so I'm going to go first while Tim quickly tries to scroll through some things. But March is a bit of a mix between things I loved and things I wanted to get into and check out more deeply as well. So there's a bit of a few things here in this one anyway. But Sabaton, The War to End All Wars, that was cool. Jizzy Pearl's Love Hate with Hell, California. That wasn't a bad album. That was pretty cool. New Horizon, the new project aside from Skid Row featuring Eric Grunwald, that one was Gate of the Gods. That was a cool album as well. But then you've also got the Life Project with the Big Four EP, which is a bunch of covers, which is, female-fronted Big Four thrash, so Slayer, Anthrax, Metallica, and Megadeth covers, which was fucking well done. That was really, really cool. Hardcore Superstar Abracadabra was another good album. Arcane Saints, This Is Primal. Tim, I'm going to give you a shout out there. That is a fucking cracking album, so well done on that. And of course, it's hard to not top this one. It's hard to top this one, though, with Ghost and Impera. That is a fucking ripper of an album that came out in March. What I was hoping to get more into was Michael Romeo, War of the Worlds Part 2. Now, Lee, if you're here still, I did listen to it finally. I loved what I heard. I want to go back and revisit that one much more properly in a lot more detail because there's a lot to take in. That is a cracking album from what I've given it a couple of spins, and I want to really sit down while I'm working, want to actually sit down and take it in properly because that's a fucking great release. Sylvain Nova. Now, Sylvain is like a one-woman black death metal kind of project, which is a really interesting project. And what I've heard so far of that has been interesting. So I do want to go and check out more of that. Also, Shaman's Harvest with Rebelator. That was an interesting one that I've checked out some of their stuff before, and it's a bit of a hit and miss kind of band, but one I was curious about. Abath released Dread Reaver back in March. I haven't had a chance to spin it yet, but that is one I definitely want to go back to and listen to. Also, Killing Joke released Lord of Chaos EP, another one I haven't had a chance to listen to. And also Reckless Love, Turbo Rider. I'm not sure how I'll go with it. I haven't heard it yet, but there was a lot of back and forth about that in the chat. So it'll be interesting to see how that one goes in the end. But that was what I was impressed or wanted to get to in March. Have you got anything there, Tim, or should I move on to April and then give you more time to catch up?
Well, the things that stood out for me really were obviously Ghost, Hardcore Superstar, and Crowbar.
Yeah. Yep.
For me, they were the three real standout albums that we reviewed.
Yep. Cool.
Out of the stuff we haven't reviewed, well, I have listened to Abath, and I thought Abath was great.
Cool.
But yeah, there's some good ones coming up tonight later on as well.
Yes, there are some good ones coming up. I haven't included what we're talking about tonight in this list, but there are some cracking releases coming up.
And yeah, well, pretty much that's it. Yeah.
For April, what I'm looking forward to or excited by, I should say, Evil Invaders, Shattering Reflection. That's one that I do want to check out. Same with Melbourne band Atomic Riot. Their self-titled debut album is out now. It was released on Monday. And that sounds, I've had to listen to that. It's pretty bloody good if you're a fan of anything from Steel Panther through to Van Halen, which I think is a lot of our audience want to go and check out. Treat have a new album, The End Game. That'll be cool. Nazareth, Surviving the Law. I'm keen as fuck for that. The single they released a while back is killer. So I'm looking forward to that a lot. Now, this is one I'm not entirely certain on, but Reef apparently have an album or something coming out the way soon, which is Shoot Me Your Ace. And the tracks I've heard so far leading up to this have been interesting, very different to what I expected. And so it makes me curious to check out more. Another Aussie band, North Lane, pushed back their album release to, I think, April 22nd. So that's Obsidian is the new album from them. I'm very keen to hear more from that one when it comes out. What else we got? Shinedown are releasing Planet Zero. I'm a big fan of the band. The lead singles from that so far have been pretty impressive to me, so I'm looking forward to hearing the album in full. Also, Dorothy, Gifts from the Holy Ghost. Every single from that has been stunning so far, so that's a must listen to coming up in a few weeks. And for Out of the Box, Kirk Hammett is releasing an EP called Portals. Curious. I want to hear that one. Just to see how
much wow is on it. We're going to have a bet.
Exactly. But also, Watain are dropping a new album as well, The Agony and Ecstasy of Watain. They're an interesting band. I always like checking out their stuff. Thunder have a new album called Dopamine coming at the end of the month as well. Very keen to check out more of that. And also, of course, last but definitely not least, this is probably going to be between this and Ghost. If we're going to go early Crow, then it's
the main event of the month.
It is. Rammstein, Zeit. That is going to be a fucking cracker. There's a new song coming very, very soon. So I am so excited. In the same year, I'm getting Ghost and Rammstein. Like, this is my fucking year. So I'm stoked.
It's a good year.
It is a good year. So what's got you keen or pumped up for April?
Well, I'm just looking through the release list now, and there's a new Destruction album out next week. Well, in 2 days.
Yes.
Now, I really like Destruction. Great German thrash band. Who doesn't like German thrash?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
And there's, Papa Roach is hit and miss, but can be pretty good.
Yep.
What was I looking for? There was something I was looking for in particular. Well, obviously Nazareth and Caliban, and as you were saying, Dorothy and Kirk Hammett.
Yep.
There's a band from Geelong called Ocean's Grove that's releasing a new album in a few weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be pretty good.
Yep.
I have no idea who this band is. I just needed to say the name because I think the name of the band is hilarious. Somali Yacht Club.
Ah, yes. Yep.
What a great name.
They're an interesting. They're an interesting group. Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah. They're not the heaviest hitting stuff, but it's interesting.
It's like modern day pirates metal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like instead of like robbing beer, it's just like robbing French cruise ships
and holding captains hostage.
And as well at the end of the month, like obviously Rammstein, but Watain. Look, I've seen Watain 3 times now, and all 3 times they've been fucking incredible. So this new album should be fantastic. But also, obviously Rammstein.
Yeah.
That's what this whole month's built around for me.
Yeah, and I'm glad it's coming out at the end of the month too, because it kind of means you're going to finish April on a high. So it's very, very happy with that. And
May 6th is like it's like stereotypical hard rock month.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like Fozzy, Hailstorm, 3 Days Grace, Silverstone.
Yeah.
So that's like 2001 all over again.
Yeah, this is it's going to be a bonkers year this year. It's going to be. I reckon the top 10 is going to be fucking hard at the end of the year. But, we'll give it a shake. All right, we've got some comments on this one too, which is cool. What do we got here? Back to marriage for a second. Andrew says marriage isn't for everyone. After the second divorce, never again. Can't say I blame you for going through it twice. Ouch. What else we got here? Keith says, just cranked on the Big 4 EP. Real decent stuff, mate. That is a cracking EP, that one. But Tease also said, Turbo Rider has a really defined sound, more synthwave-ish direction, but I dig it. Nice, cool. All right, Rowan, good to see you. My fave listening this month has been Romeo, War of the Worlds, Part 1. Need to grab Part 2 ASAP. Man, get Part 2. Lords of Black's Alchemy of Souls Part 2 and Pyromaze's old album Melancholy Beast. That's nice. And also listening to Lorna Shore EP. Nice. Cool. Nice collection there. Keith says, Kirk EP. Interesting. Yes, I figured that one might get your attention. But also, just as a bit of an aside, Rautism are releasing a new single on April 15. Make sure you keep us in the loop with that one, buddy. Don't let me forget that that's coming out. If I get inundated, make sure you keep me in the loop. Andrew says highlight of March was the debut of Paris as the new bass player for Ablaze, which is a very nicely done thing there. And if you are keen to hear more about that gig in a very scratchy voice, Nikki, her review of that night is on our YouTube channel now, so go and check that out. That is there for everyone to enjoy. And Lee says, Wolf album released last week is pretty damn good. That is one you've been championing. I do want to go and check that out as well. But there's a lot going on. It's another massive year. They're not getting any smaller these years, but it is what it is. Here we go. Andrew says, Arcane Saints album, also a highlight. There we go. More love for you there, Tim. It is a cracking album. If you haven't heard Arcane Saints yet, fuck me dead. This is primarily...
Man, I was blown away by the reception.
Sorry?
I've been blown away by the reception, to be honest.
It's fucking great, man. You should be proud of it. It's got to be like Nikki and I are going to sit down and do an interview with you guys in the near future. We're going to get back on the interview bandwagon and chat to you guys about it. And then in that process, we're going to sort of add our review and make it the relaunch of the Deep Cuts segment kind of thing as well. But yeah, you should be fucking proud of that album, man. It's really bloody well done. I've listened to that more times than I can count, and I'm not tired of it at all. I think it's fantastic.
Nice.
So, and you know me, I move on pretty quick. I haven't moved on from that album, so that says something.
It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Is that to be enjoyed?
It is, and it's very enjoyable. So please do check it out, folks. Please do. This is not a bias thing because we know the people. This is just one of those albums that goes, fuck, that's good. So please do check it out. Bell says, I spent the week playing last week's singles from Heat and Toxicon and deep diving into both bands. Nice. Good stuff.
Oh, yeah. First time you listen to Heat, that's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah. Heat and Toxicon are some bands you can really do a deep dive into and enjoy. So, yeah. Different bands, but fucking I'm glad you're enjoying them. All righty. Let's get into the overrated, underrated segment before we get into the reviews of this evening. And, of course, this time of year it always happens. We're not going to talk about any slaps. We're going to talk about the Grammys instead. So, this is a bit of an overrated, underrated on the Grammys, and it's pretty straightforward. We just sort of go, okay, are they overrated? Are they underrated? Or are they about right? So, Tim, what do you think? Grammys, over or under?
You know what? I was going to say overrated, but I almost want to say they are so lowly rated that their about right is almost there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I honestly had no idea the Grammys were on until I saw the news article saying the Foo Fighters had won them all their nominations with Taylor Hawkins posthumously.
Yeah.
So, look, I had no idea they were on. I don't think many people. Did anybody here know they were on? If you knew,
what happened, yeah.
Cool. And let's face it, I mean, after the Oscars, it's a fairly boring ceremony.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to top that one.
It's impossible.
Yeah. It's nuts.
So swing and a miss.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Actually, I think for me, it's a bit of both. Actually, which is it's a weird thing to say. I think that because we went through the process and actually won our first award last year, I think that when you're in the process and it's done by peers and things like that. First,
hold up.
Yeah, okay.
This is where I think it's different.
Yep. All right, go for it.
The award that we won was voted by television people.
Mm.
The Grammys are voted by business people.
Mm.
There's one thing to say, like, okay, it's cool to be recognized by your peers, but being recognized by your peers is not winning a Grammy. That's where it's different.
Yep. No, that's a fair point. I would just say that that's my caveat. So I think that for bands to win one for just the marketing side, the business side, it's about right for bands and that. But as the wider public go, I think it's vastly overrated. I think the ceremony is boring as fuck. I think it's become, this is going to sound really mean and don't flame me to death on this one, but I think that, Foo Fighters winning that many awards, and if you think it's got nothing to do with Taylor Hawkins, you're fucking kidding yourself. Like, that's just put it over, the top for mine.
Let's say that we reviewed that album. It wasn't very good.
No, it was an okay album, but nowhere near a top 10 contender. Like, nowhere near it. Like, so, and that wasn't ripping on it. It was, it's okay. It's a rock album. Okay, cool. Been there, done that. Nothing that made it the best at all. Not even close. There were albums that left that.
Man, that was such a missed opportunity.
What? Go on.
You should have gone. There's nothing that made it the best. The best.
The best of you. True. I'm not in that mind space right now.
As soon as you said it, I'm like, fuck.
I hadn't even thought of that, man. Well picked up. I should smack myself over there for not picking up on that one. But yeah, that was fuck. It's one of those things. Just to go back, like, because the popularity contest side of this is so fucking blatant these days. That's where you don't want to disrespect the memory, but at the same time, if you think it didn't influence the outcomes, then I think it's a bit naive. But I'm sure they'll say something different. But whatever. But so I think in terms of how much it's hyped up and how much stock is put into it by the media and how much of a circus it generates every fucking time, and they fuck it up every goddamn year when it comes to rock metal. Like Joey Jordan.
Thing, like, does it really generate that much of a circus? Like, I mean, none of us heard about it. None of us saw it in these cycles. None of us. It was just kind of like you see it afterwards. It's like, okay, cool.
I think they try to then, and I think it's become try hard in that regard because they missed Joey Jordison in the in memoriam section, and Foo Fighters.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me though.
No, it is what it is. But it's just but these are the things that all the outlets, the traditional ones like Blabbermouth and Loudwire and all those ones will bang on about for days and generate the comments and the clicks and all that sort of stuff. So, but I think that it is trying too hard now to be something. So I think if they just stripped it all back and made it quote unquote a more dull ceremony, if that makes sense, and just had some bands play and some awards given out, and just actually made it about the music and not have about fucking business awards. Just make it about the music itself, like something like we talk about these Hall of Fame stuff, and it'd be if it was a bit more akin to more legitimate, it might be more interesting.
I was going to say, because there was a period, obviously not now, but probably 7 or 8 years ago, where the Oscars were making sort of a comeback.
Yeah, they were,
and it was largely because they'd moved away from giving awards to whichever movie made the most money, and started giving the awards to good movies. And there was this whole, I remember seeing this whole debate about, because Titanic won like 17 Oscars or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, had that movie come out in 2014, would it have won any Oscars? Because it largely won Oscars because it made a lot of money.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you compare that to, whereas, what's that movie?
Which one? There's a lot.
Oh, that's not Star is Born, but sort of around that era of movies. There was a lot of movies that won a lot of Oscars that didn't necessarily make millions upon millions of dollars. But it would be interesting to see if anybody actually had the balls to do anything like that. The unfortunate thing is, even amongst show business, which is notoriously plastic, the music industry is seen as the plastic of the plastic. So not anytime. I highly doubt it.
It's not going to happen. It's wishful thinking, but it'd be. That's why I say, for bands, for the industry, it's kind of it's a circle jerk, and it's about right for them. But for the wider public, I think it's vastly overrated and not really required to generally consume by any of us out here in the wider world. Until they sort of give it some more artistic merit. As much as that sounds wanky, I just think it needs that to get some credibility back to it. But hey, I'm sure we got some comments coming through on this one. Let's move on to the comments for a second here. But quickly, Darren says, totally agree. Arcane Saints album, brilliant. Love the difference in the songs. There you go. More love for your album there, Tim.
By the way, the movie I was thinking of was La La Land.
Ah, okay.
La La Land was not necessarily like a huge money maker, but it won a ton of awards. It was a good movie.
That's the thing. I'd like that more of that approach. Thank you, kind of thing. Like I'd like to, make it about actually listen to a shitload of music like we do, and then not just, what is the flavor.
It is amazing because I'm on the front page of Loudwire to get the calendar release. Yeah, and it's bizarre seeing like Chris Jericho as a headline photo. Like Fozzy will become a thing.
Yeah, and their album's coming soon as well. That's what, May or June?
May.
Yeah.
The month after this.
Yeah, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Everything's still a fucking blur. We haven't got out of the blur phase, have we? Everything's still a blur.
No.
Yeah, it's weird. But Darren also said, what are the Grammys, which is true there. Lee chimed in to say, Foo Fighters have won 5 Grammy Awards. I gave my thoughts on how and why that came about. And Sally says, had no idea they were on. We're probably going to get a few of those. Nikki, because I follow all Foo Fighters socials. They announced they wouldn't be attending, and that's fair enough. Anyone that begrudges them that is just fucking stupid. Tease said, Heat 2 is up there with my top albums of all time. New single is great. Okay, there we go. More love for Heat.
Yep.
Lee's gone. They need Will Smith to spice things up. Yeah, if he can get up there and get jiggy with it, then we'll see what happens.
Brilliant.
There's one I didn't miss, Tim. Bell says, didn't know the Grammys were on. I guess no one got slapped, and that's pretty much it. Here we go. Good statement here. Conrad said Mastodon should have won Best Metal Album for sure. Definitely more.
I agree. Having said that, the Dream Theater album was really good.
Yeah, there was some good metal. Like you could imagine. Yeah,
there were some great metal albums that last year. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
If you asked me to pick one or two, I'd have taken the Mastodon album, but the Dream Theater album was very good.
Yeah, credit where due. It's a weird one. That's why I say, if you go back to just pure artistic merit, then yeah, I don't want to shit on Foo Fighters right now. It's not the thing to do, but they're not. They're just not the best album of that period of time. Just not for mine. Keith says Grammy's a bunch of fools gathering for a stupid contest for a little piece of crap gramophone that doesn't even bloody work. So there we go. Andrew says the Grammys lost me years ago despite being a massive Tull fan. When they beat out Metallica for best metal album, they lost all credibility. It's one of those moments in time, isn't it? Here we go, Tim. Lee was saying La La Land, so there you go. You verified that afterward as well. Oh, here we go. Gear, good to see you from Norway. The new song We Are United will be downloaded on all platforms worldwide. We Are United playing worldwide on radio now. This song is for the Ukrainian people. Where can I send you this song? I gave you the email address last time around, Gear, but it is media@thehardrockshow.com is the best email to get us on. So there you go. For Viking Queen over in Norway. That is a new one out now, I think, or coming up very soon. Sally says there is way too much contrived shit on it. Everyone is plastic. To be honest, you're just waiting for the show to end. Then Nicki Minaj shows up and I'm out. And I don't blame you. Yep, that's true. And Danny said the Grammys don't count for much. So there's that too. Did you want to say something there, did you? Or?
No, I was trying to think of a Nicki Minaj joke, but it's just going to blank.
Yeah, well, I just think she is the joke personally, but hey, that's just me. I know you don't agree with that, but yeah, that's just my take on it. I know that we're going to butt heads over that, but that's just me.
I don't necessarily like care about it.
I think that
I think there's worse people out there.
Yeah, there is. Like I should say that it's more about for me just how overhyped it is, if that makes sense. Just like it's just who gives a shit? Like it's really a nothing thing. But hey, what do we do? I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Yes. What? Go on.
Yeah. No. Just agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Oh, good. We're on the same page at last. It's only taken us how long into the episode tonight to just go? Yeah, we agree. Alrighty. Shall we get into some reviews, you reckon?
Yeah, let's do it.
Alrighty, first up is the Aussie band for this week with Hellz Abyss. So, Andrew, I hope you're still here because this is the one that you brought to our attention. In the comments, in the description box, you're going to find Hellz Abyss. Hellz is spelled Hellz. And the song is Cover and Run. So, Hellz Abyss, Cover and Run is your reference track for our first review tonight. Here we go. Andrew said before. Sorry, he is here. The only good Nikki is our Nikki, and that's true. I completely concur with that sentiment. Well put. Alrighty. First review for this evening is Hellz Abyss with Blow. 13 tracks, 49 minutes. The second or third album, depending on who you're reading it from. I think it's the second overall actual studio album. There's an EP in there as well. From the Australian band based all up and down the East Coast. Released March 2022 via Revenge of Eve Records. Self-produced. A handful of videos have been released for this, including Trouble and Cover and Run, with the latter being the one we're sharing tonight. And also that one has a guest spot from former Rob Zombie guitarist Riggs. Special shout out to Andrew Marshall for bringing this to our attention in the THRS Lounge. So there we go. Tim, I'm glad it's you and I reviewing this one tonight. How did you go?
Agreed. Look, I thought first comment, cover art, brilliant.
Definitely.
Very interesting album, this, because it's like it's got the At first, I thought there was like it's a very heavy industrial influence on him. That you know, heavy compressed sound, heavy compressed guitar sound as well.
Yeah.
And there's some nice synth work as well throughout it. They're also, but songwriting wise, is also quite different to that. It's also very songwriting wise, they do lean into a bit of the hard rock stuff as well.
Yeah,
a bit more, but it's also has its kind of roots in some industrial stuff as well. There's a lot of industrial tricks that they use. Like they're very they're not afraid to sit on a repeating melody and have it go over and over again to have that kind of chanting effects.
Yeah.
That you see in that, but at the same time, you've also got Cover and Run's a perfect example where you've got a much more traditional hard rock style of song being played in that context of a industrial metal band.
Yeah.
which makes it a very interesting listen from start to finish and very unique because you don't really hear that in too many things. It's very much because industrial tends to be one of those things where it's like it's like power metal. Where you really read it or you're out of it.
Yeah. Yep.
And these guys are kind of towing that line very nicely. And I thought, but because of that, and again, because I do quite like industrial music, it did take me a little bit to adjust what I was listening to because, I mean, like, it's like all styles of music. There are certain rules and limitations within things. And these guys have kind of broken a few of those rules. So it does take you a little bit to not expected to hear certain things and just listen to it for what it is.
Yeah.
Once I've gotten through that stage, I actually thought this was a very, very well written album from start to finish. I thought, I don't want to say they used dynamics really well because they didn't. What they did really well was they used implied dynamics very well, which was they added in more tracks to thicken things up. Without necessarily making it softer, and then pulled things away to emphasize other things. Yeah. Yep. They did that very, very well throughout start to finish. And I thought they also had like a knack for rhythmic hooks in the vocals. I think that towards the end of Gretel, there's a banger. Yeah. And again, Cover and Run's another good one, example of that as well. But you see it all throughout this thing. It's great from start to finish. Doesn't let you up. And it just comes in, punches you in the face. There's plenty of meat on the bone here as well. Yeah. Like, there's good things to deep dive in and listen to from start to finish. Yep. So, I mean, what's not to like? It's a unique industrial metal listen, which is not something that you hear very often these days. Yep. So, it was, big fan. Cover and Run was actually my highlight. Cool. And, 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. We're going to agree a lot on this one. I liked how you noted the use of the whole less can be more kind of thing by stripping things away a bit. They allowed those accents to come through. That's a nice touch on this one overall. This is an industrial-based kind of project, but there's so much more to it than that as well. If you like an alternative with a darker edge, the goth rock kind of a vibe, excuse me, this is going to definitely appeal to you. Excuse me, sorry. Bit weird tonight. This really goes back to the glory days of things like when Typo Negative were doing what they were doing very, very well at the peak of their powers. But there's a nice amount of heart and soul in this as well. And I'll get to some more reference points in this too. But, if you like things like the old Mortal Kombat soundtrack or the Crow soundtrack, this is going to be one of those ones that's going to hit your sweet spot. This is one of those. There's a lot in this to take in, and it's not just a purely industrial or a goth rock album. It's a blending of both of those worlds and something else unique on top of that, which is incredibly in this space, in this musical world, it's hard to do. And they've done something that, makes them jump out from the pack, which is cool. They're not shy in having something to say. Some of the lyrics in this are fucking phenomenal. The stories being told are great. I love that part of it as well. There's nothing overly complicated in this, but there's nothing overly simplified either. It just sort of does this weird thing where, it's neither extreme. It just sort of toes between those two sides really well, which makes this incredibly accessible too. So even if you're not the world's biggest fan of industrial rock or goth rock or all that alternative stuff, there's still enough in this to make it really accessible. The vocals are worth the price of entry alone. I think that is just, her vocals are stunning on this release. And the way she complements each song and the style it's being written in is well done. The mix is just right for this kind of music. It's just that bit rough around the edges, which is called that compressed sound that you're going for in this style of music. But it's well balanced. The synth is just right here as well. There's some clever panning in this too. It's, nothing is by accident. It's all very deliberate and very well put together. I thought the drum tones were a bit of a nice cliche in this and how organic they were. Usually with industrial music, the drum tones are much more, influenced by that style, but these were really just a lot more organic, which gave them a lot more punch and I thought was a really nice touch. I don't know if you picked up on that, Tim, but I thought that was a really nice
definitely touch.
Yeah,
it was a break from that sort of compressed reverb heavy thing you get. Is a very natural drum sound, which again for me I think that goes well with the guitar sound as well, because it makes them separate from each other.
nothing's compressed into a big mess. They actually have separation. But what was also cool about that was because it wasn't snapped to the grid either. Like it's industrial, but not snapped to the grid. It had that rock feel going for it, which is a really cool trick, and allowed that playing off against the vocals was incredibly well done on this one.
But at the same time, they weren't afraid to just find a beat and sit on it either.
Yeah.
So they kind of had that push and pull, but they still also had that hypnotic thing going on. It's very, very nice, very cleverly done.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it is, in a genre that's, pretty saturated these days overall with a lot of history behind it, they've done something to stand out, which comes out of the little things, but they've done a great job in doing it. There's plenty of attitude in this. It's all about the vocals, but the tapestry behind it is great. Great use of groove when they settle on that too. The groove along with the staccato attack was just a nice way of doing things on this. Loads of attitude, lots of emotive weight in the songs. I get all sorts of things in this, like Typo Negative, Veruca Salt, Tori Amos, Machines of Loving Grace. So much of this would fit on things like I was saying before, like the Crow or the Mortal Kombat soundtrack from years and years ago. This is one of those albums that it's really interesting and it doesn't sound like anyone else. It's nicely done. It won't appeal to absolutely everyone, but I think it's one of those ones that'll hook more people than it leaves behind at the same time. I think it's a sneaky kind of a gateway one. If you're not into the style usually, this might be one that will get your attention because it is not so snappy. It's much more groove based, which is cool. Like I'm saying, I can rattle off all those things that I was saying before, but at the same time, I can hear that this band is its own unique beast, which is rare these days. I think it's well worth your time. Give it some time though. Like Tim said, it takes a few listens to really take it in. I think that's true. Give it a few listens, but once you settle in on it, fucking well worth it. I think it's a great listen. If you like that, there was a little touch with the Freedom Phobia track, for example, how it had a spoken vocal with melodic harmonies accompanying it. There's so much to take in, so much little subtle things. It's just the album is so easy to repeat spin because of that fact alone. So well done. I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. I picked Bleed, Smegma, but also Cover and Run. So you and I both picked that one as a standout there as well, which is cool. Good find, Andrew.
Good great find. If you're like me and used to hang out at DV8 back in the day, you'll probably like this.
Mm-hmm. This would go off in all the old goth clubs. The old goth clubs.
Oh man, if you're into like Velvet Acid Christ, you'd be into this. If you're into anything from like KMFDM, Ministry, Tool, even all those bands. You get something out of this. Yeah.
But also that softer
But like you said, Tori Amos, type of I'm sure there's a Kate Bush fan out there who's going to listen to this album and go, man, this is cool.
Even a bit of Björk maybe too. Like it's unique about it. Like there's a bit in this take-in which
it's got a cool factor.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. Which is
it's got a cool factor that you can't buy that. It's just there.
Yep. This is very well done. Hopefully people out there like it, but it's well worth your time. Please do check it out. All right. Going back to Nicki Minaj for a second. Nicki says, I get called Nicki Minaj when people try to rattle my cage, and it works. So thanks for telling us that. That's going to be a lot of fun for us in the chat now.
Thanks for that, Nicki. It grinds your gears.
Yeah, it does grind our gears. We're all in this together, aren't we? Andrew says, I got a necklace based on the cover art in my merch pack. That's awesome. That would be cool. Danny says, this ain't bad. We'll definitely look further at. Don't know why, but I thought Girl Score for some reason, but a bit more melodic. That's not bad either. That's a good little reference note there. Andrew says they go well live, which is how I found them. They did I share the album in the lounge? Yes, you did. That's how we came across it, was in the lounge. And Nicole's joined us, saying, Nicole, late, but hello all. Good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Doesn't matter what time you get here.
It's never too late.
That's it. I had a point before and I've lost it. Oh well. Live. Sorry, because they Carly Jewel is a support on some upcoming shows as well. So
I did saw that. Yeah. Carly's playing with them on their Australian tour.
That's going to be a cool little 1-2 punch, I reckon. That's going to be all right.
Yeah,
Carly
for sure.
That's nice.
And Carly's got a new single out as well. It's very good too.
Yes, very very good. We did cover that one. It's very much worth your time as well. Go and check it out. Alrighty. Now, all 4 releases tonight are very different to each other. Oh, except maybe this one of the classic. Maybe this one of the classic might tie, but between all this, we're going to get some fucking wild extremes tonight. So this is, before we do the next one, Nikki's just gone laugh my fucking ass off, grind my gears, all this together, forgot about that night. Nikki, we will never forget about that night.
Oh, there's a song about that night. What are you talking about?
I know, exactly. I've still got to do a video for that too. Alrighty. In the comments, in the description box, you're going to find a link to the Hellacopters and their track Eyes of Oblivion. So the band is the Hellacopters. The song is Eyes of Oblivion. If you're tuning in now, you can check it out in the comments. If you're tuning in later on, check it out in the description box. While we move on to the next review, like I said, we're going to change gears tonight, and this is the first of those. This is the Hellacopters with, fittingly, Eyes of Oblivion. 10 tracks, 35 minutes, the 8th studio album of the Swedish band, released April 2022 via Nuclear Blast. Produced by Chips Kisby and frontman Nick Anderson Platov. 3 singles have been released, including Reaper Hurricane and the title track. This is the band's first album of new material since 2008's Head Off. Also sees the return of guitarist Dragan for the first time since 1997's Paying the Dues. Special thanks to the label and John Howarth for sending this in, but also to Lee, who has been a big fan of this and made sure we knew about it as well. A lot of hype surrounding this one before release date. Tim, how'd you go?
Now, I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
As a review, though, I think this is going to be a divisive album.
Okay.
Just because, look, I think it's great. I think, look, it's a classic, what's old is new again kind of album. And I mean,
definitely, yep.
There are songwriters. This is really, really old school rock and roll blues based songwriting done with modern recording.
Yes.
And there are some old school tricks on here that I haven't heard that have been uncool for years. And because of that, you haven't heard them in 30 years, and it sounds like they're new again.
Mm-hmm.
But they were a cliche because they worked. And there are tracks. There's one track on here, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it sounds like a Rod Stewart song.
Ooh. So sorry, I could lie?
I think so.
Yeah.
Like things like that. It's like that kind of old school songwriting.
Mm.
But there's also your blues tracks. There's also your R&B stuff. There's your that kind of old thing. The reason why I think it's divisive is because we've seen bands play older style of rock and roll songs before. I mean, and whether people or not say go the way of the Lazies and Airborne and embrace it, or they go the way of Greta Van Fleet and Wolfmother and push it away. And frankly, I've got no idea. I can't tell. What people are going to do. All I know is I enjoyed this album. I thought it was an excellent listen. Like I said, because it's unique for the time. You would never hear a new album like this outside of this band. I thought it was fantastic. So Reaper Hurricane was my highlight, and 8 out of 10.
Nice. I wonder, because I am not a huge connoisseur of the Hellacopters. They're a band I've known about, and I've probably paid more attention to Lucifer, to be honest, which the guitarist crosses over into that one. But this one is a band that I don't know a lot about, so I'm curious to see how long-time fans view this album, because apparently it is a bit of a shift. It is a long time between drinks. I think, like I said before, the last album was back in 2008. Yeah, so it's a fair whack of a gap there. The got dogs coming and going all over the joint tonight. They're just walking in and out right now. The thing for me about this is that what you said is exactly true, but I, like you, really enjoyed it. I thought this leaned into things like it's funny, we'll do Foreigner later on. And what I loved about the Foreigner album, which is a bit of a spoiler alert here, is the backing vocals. And this has the same sort of old school approach to the backing vocals. This has a really classic retro vibe. It's old school rock done fucking well. It's a modern band doing their take on it. And I think the band themselves have made comments about, this is Hellacopters today. This is, us being older. And I think there's no problem with a band leaning into that if they're old. I think what you were saying before about, where people jump on or off is, if it's a young band emulating a certain style, or if it's an old band maturing and getting older. And I think this falls into the latter side of things. And so as such, it's a bit easier to accept.
That's why I mentioned the Lazies and Airborne.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a band that's, matured into themselves. And I think that at the same time, the songs themselves hold up. Like these aren't phoned in. These are well written, well performed, well mixed. Like everything about this has all the attention to detail you want from the classic, hard rock or rock category. But I really enjoyed when you get into the detail of this one. The riffs, the hooks are fantastic on this. There's the use of piano I thought was a really good touch on this. The way it was used in the songs, and not overpowering. It's just in the back a bit, but it's just really fills things out beautifully well. And the way they use percussion to sort of have the percussion and the rhythm guitar and bass kind of to offbeat each other. That was a really cool sort of driving influence on this album that I enjoyed thoroughly. On top of that, you got some nice lead touches. And when that side of thing flashes, it really does bring something extra to the songs where, those kick in. And I thought the solos and lead work the tones on that as well were fucking fantastic. Like everything about this one is classic, but it's today, like you said before, like it's a classic rock album done with modern production techniques and all that sort of stuff. All the old school gear changes are on this one. There's great use and placement of solo tracks and, and the emotive weight of things like, So Sorry I Could Die. That's really impressively done on this one. And I thought, like I said before, that the songs are great. The lyrics and the storytelling are fantastic here too. There's nothing complicated. It's just good stories, but they do it very, very well. The mix is just that right kind of hot, the right kind of just a touch compressed thing, but everything is clear. It's well balanced. It sounds great. It's got that little bit of crunch and a bit more brightness than you might get otherwise. It just makes it jump out. It just pops a bit out of the speakers, which compared to a lot of the other stuff we listened to tonight, this one really did jump out because it is so much brighter by comparison. But that's a good thing. It's not a negative thing at all. Just the way this one sort of just pops is really nice. But on top of that, you've got things like the clean tone that opens the title track. That is so wonderful. And right after that, you got the little ear candy touch with a rattle in there as well. Like that lick to Eyes Oblivion, you can hear it straight away in your head. It gets stuck in there. There's more to this than you might think, but at the same time, it's just simple, straight ahead, hard rock. It's the mix, it's the writing, it's the performances, it's all of it. The whole thing just screams great stuff. The album flows incredibly well. It flies by as a listen. It's really, really easy to repeat spin as well. It's a modern day classic rock record. Great groove and swing. If you're into old school rock, this is definitely for you. In a way, it's fitting, like I said before, we're doing this with Foreign tonight. It's going to be a good 1-2 punch later on. But, I think this is a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Like I said, I'm curious to see how it goes with the fan base. But as a newer listener to this band, I think this is a great album. And it would be great to see this one live. I love the backing vocals on this too. It would be just a good band to see live on the back of this album. I would go in a heartbeat. These songs have a knack of staying with you a lot longer than you might think. I really rate this album. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Eyes of Oblivion, So Sorry I Could Die, and Tinfoil Soldier are my standouts, but there's a lot of great tracks, and I still like The Pressure's On. It's another good one as well. There's even things like A Plow and a Doctor. It sounds like a nonsense title, but you get into the song, it's just like, okay, there's a bit of meat on the bone, like you were saying before. There's a lot to take in with this record, which I think is really neatly done. Impressive. Like, yeah. It's hard to do this style of music and get it right without coming off as, passe, like you were saying before. Like, it's hard to do this, not come off like you're half-assing it or mimicking. It feels organic and real, which is, remarkable for me. I don't know. Yeah,
it's good. Good listen.
All righty. Nicole has said, this is quite good. We'll have a better listen as soon as I can hear the vocals properly. Yes, okay, cool. Well, nicely done there. Conrad says, I like this. Feel-good rock and roll, and there's definitely a feel-good vibe to this album, which is true. Here we go. Bell says, now I see what the fuss is about with this band. Okay. Looks like I'm getting some positive feedback so far. All right. Danny says, dude, I always say I like harmonies, but damn, this is insane. 100% going for more. It's like commercial Journey / Foreigner vocal and a gritty rock sound like Journey. Got drunk and turned it up. Nice. Okay, cool. We're getting a lot of good feedback on this. Darren says, the Hellacopters, great rockin' band. And Danny says, Separate Ways is what it reminded me of. Okay, nice. Getting a lot of good feedback on that one. That's cool. I'm glad that one's gone well. I'm curious, like you said, to see where it sits with people, but so far, so good for our audience at least. Now, let's go to one that I know you're definitely keen to get stuck into, Tim. This is much more your bread and butter, so to speak, but this is a band that I do enjoy myself as well. So big gear change. Get ready for a shock and a half because we're going to move from the Hellacopters to Meshuggah. So the band is Meshuggah. The song for reference is Broken Cog, which is a new video released a few days ago now. Picked a good one, did I?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So that's your reference track. The band is Meshuggah. The song is Broken Cog. That is your reference track in this one. Well, we'll get on to our next review, our second last of the evening. This is Meshuggah with Immutable. 13 tracks, 66 minutes. The 9th studio album from the Swedish band, released April 2022 via Atomic Fire, their first on that label. Produced by the band, 3 singles have been released, including The Abysmal Eye and Light the Shortening Fuse. This is the band's first album since 2016's The Violent Sleep of Reason and marks the full return of guitarist Frederick Thordengold. Special thanks to John Howarth and the label for sending this through to us as well. All right, Tim, go off.
Oh, my God. What a great album. Look, okay, now, this is genuine. Question for people who are watching along. Have you heard Meshuggah before?
Mm.
And also, if this is your first time hearing Meshuggah, let me know what you think, because I'm always curious to know what people think of this band. I would love to know what Dave thinks of this band, because from my experience, there are 2 types of musical brains. That is those that think in melody and those that think in rhythm. Yeah, and those that think in melody like to think that they know everything. And then they come across a band like Meshuggah and their brain just explodes because they can't follow what's going on. Yeah. Because it's all rhythm.
Yes, definitely.
And it's all multiple rhythms going on at the exact same time, but it's not like a minimalist track where everything goes out of time and it comes back in time. It's all still in time with itself.
Yep. So hard.
The phrases,
watching these guys live is a different experience.
Oh, one of the greatest gigs I've ever been to was a festival called Meshuggah and Lamb of God. It was fucking unreal. And neither band was touring on it.
Yeah. Pardon? Sorry, I saw these guys at the Forum with Devin Townsend.
Yeah. And neither of those bands were touring on an album at the time. So it was just Lamb of God and Meshuggah playing greatest hit sets, and it was unbelievable. And I first started listening to these guys when I was probably 14 or 15. I'll tell you, the song was New Millennium Cyanide Christ. And like, this just blew my mind because the song's in 23:16, but phrase is 4/4.
Yeah.
And like, as a young drummer, that's just like, okay, this is where it's at. And then you hear Bleed.
Yeah.
And it's just a completely different thing. Now with this album, I feel like this album is the worst album for a new Meshuggah fan to get into because it's much darker. There is not as much of that 4/4 phrasing with bullshit time signatures underneath it. It's more bullshit time signature than anything else. There is no track like, Do Not Look Down, which has that great sort of rhythmic hook, or New Millennium Cyanide Christ. Well, there are some rhythmic hooks in it, like Legato Marks and, Light Shortening the Fuse and all that. But overall, this is such a terrific album. I love that we're doing this album because I know it's just going to explode people's brains.
Yeah.
The first time because people hear bands like the Omnific and Animals as Leaders and all that, and I think that's what rhythmically complicated is.
Oh no,
they ain't got shit on Meshuggah.
Yeah,
this is but they managed. What blows me away is that they managed to do this all while playing very few notes, but still managed to have like such a sense of drama. They use tension and release. It's tension and release, but they do it with dynamics. It's and little things like palm muting and then not palm muting. Like it's but that's also just but that's also the difference between space and time. It's using time to tell stories. Yeah, and I think this is such a brilliant band. It's such a nerd geek out band for me, as they are for a lot of drummers. So I would love to know what other people think of this. If you have explored this album and whether or not you've heard Meshuggah or not before this.
Cool.
Because to be honest with you, if you listen to this and your brain just went, it's not going to change your mind because it gets much more complicated than Broken Cog.
Yes, that's true. That's true. Definitely true.
But anyway, so my highlight was Lagacha Marks, and I think this is a 9 out of 10 album. I still think the peak of this band was Coloss, but this is still a phenomenal album.
Yeah, Coloss was a ripper of an album, but this
Coloss and Obscene as well.
Yeah. Now, this one, it's not for the faint of heart, if that makes sense. Now, it takes a bit. My first note is sit back and pay full attention to this. This one deserves it. You need to focus to really appreciate what is going on in this album. For the record, I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think these guys are one of the most unique bands in the whole, math metal scene. I think these guys own it, and then some. I think a lot of bands try to be Meshuggah, and no one ever gets close.
And where would rock be without these guys?
Well, yeah,
there'd be no Animals, there'd be no Periphery, there'd be no Tesseract, there'd be no any of that genty kind of thing. Like, where would Fear Factor be without Meshuggah?
Well, these days, they'd be struggling. It's these guys really did come in and kick the pants off of a lot of other bands and make them see what you can do with things that being simplistic but not being simplistic at the same time. It's something that is a wonder to behold, how they compose and perform this music and don't fall into the tropes at all. They do their own thing the entire time, and it's just remarkable. This is dark, it's brooding, it's intense, but it's not a full-on brutal assault. And that's the part that makes these guys even more intriguing to me. So many other bands think that heavy is screaming your head off and just blast beating the fuck out of it. I reckon these guys have a lot of those bands beat for pure heaviness, just in how this thing feels and sits and just impacts come out of the speakers. It's quite dramatic. This isn't just another one of this genre. This band does stand well and truly out above the pack, a long way above the pack. I love the spoken moments in this one. Right from the opening track, those little spoken bits add to the atmosphere. And this one is all about atmosphere, the way they build tension, release things, and all the stuff we were talking about before. But the way they use syncopation and choose their notes. Yes, they sit on things for a while, but those choices are so important, and they're so... I don't know what goes on in their minds. I can't get into their head and go, okay, this is what it all means. But there's something about their creative process which is just remarkable to listen to. The way the rhythm section and the solo play off against each other in the Abysmal Eye is just one example of what I'm talking about when it comes to the syncopation along with the note choices. Like, that moment is just stunningly, it's just wow. Like, you listen to it going, okay, cool. And it's funny, I'm curious, Tim, because you mentioned about people that listen in rhythm and people that listen in melody. I'm not sure which category I fit into for you, because I think I can do both. So
that's the thing. There will be people who fit into both.
Yeah.
So but a lot of people do think in melody, and they do think. Some people do think in rhythm.
Yeah, one or the other is usually the main motivating factor. But this is, I don't know. Like, when they settle into a groove, that's fantastic. Like the shortening fuse is an example of that thing.
Oh yeah.
That is so cool on the groove. It all fits. It all moves. It's engaging. It's very cerebral. This is not casual listening kind of stuff. But it locks you in.
The magic is this in this album is Thomas Harker's left foot.
Yeah.
Because what he does is the whole time he's got his hi-hats.
Yep.
And it just ties everything together.
Yep.
That's the secret to it. He's like the band's metronome. He's his left foot.
Well, yeah.
And it keeps everything going, and it makes sure everything is head bangable.
Yeah.
While being complete bullshit.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like you said, it's head bangable, but it's not extreme. Like, none of these. There's no blast beats in this.
No. It's a heavy backbeat with a swing.
Yeah. It works so well. Sonically, this is dense, it's dark, but the organic nature of the tones, and that's another thing too, is a lot of bands go for these really harsh tones. Everything is warm on this one. It's actually rather easy to listen to, sonically speaking. It's hard to pull it off. The great tones, even though it's down-tuned, is fucking great. Again, atmosphere is key. The way this is mixed is really accenting that part of things too. But again, you say that, but then you see them live, and they sound just as good live as they do on record, which is just phenomenal to watch what they do. I think that the use of synth and or guitar, like over the top of things, was stunningly well done. It adds a haunting layer to these songs. It's those moments where they have more drawn out notes there are accounts to the bluntness of the rhythm that goes under it all. Ligature Marks is an example I'm talking about in that regard. That slightly dissonant harmony is also really good in that track. That track is a standout for me. I fucking loved it. The intensity in the vocals is impressive. It's got emotive strength. Yes, it's on the more aggressive growly side of things, but it just adds something sonically to this too. It's not just brutal for the sake of it. It brings a lot of color and depth to the sound of this release.
I describe him as like an angry man yelling at the world.
Yeah, and you feel it, don't you? It's very visceral. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, bullshit. Like he's pissed off.
Yeah, it's legit. And for me, I like it's feel my wrath, not feel my pain. It's feel my wrath. He's angry and he's fucking venting, and it's wholesome, if that makes sense. Like,
but he's doing it in an artful way.
Yeah, exactly.
He's using a lot of languages just to say, go fuck yourself.
Pretty much, yeah. Yes, and I agree with that. But also in the vocal touches, some of the hard left-right panning was really clever on that too. That really did bring some dramatic impact to these songs. And it's fucking... The execution from top to bottom on this, faultless. The use of instrumental interludes on this one provides some beautiful oases that you need in this kind of listen, because they give you that space to breathe and recalibrate, and then you go back in for another ride. It's a longer listen, but those little moments keep things really fresh, interesting, keeps the album moving along. Even the longer one, what is it? They Move Below. It's like a 9-minute instrumental track, but it fucking works right in the middle of the album. It's perfect for that. There's no one else like this out there for me. And I think this is an amazing band. They're live. They're fantastic too. Give this one some time. I know it's not an easy one. It's not a gateway kind of a record. And even for the band, this isn't the most accessible one. But I just think that they're a band that if you've overlooked, not paid any attention to, take some time. Don't just go listen and go, yeah, that didn't work for me. It takes a few spins. And that's not the most gravitating thing for a lot of people. But if you want to understand it, that's what it takes, I think. This is fucking well done. I give this a 9 out of 10. Ligature Marks, Light and the Shortening Fuse, and They Move Below, my standouts on this one. So there we go, Tim. We found one we both adored. So there's one for everyone out there. Comments, though. Nicole, first comment on this one. Not my bag. Don't judge me. That's okay. This is not going to be for everyone. You've got to. It is not going to be for everyone. It's just not.
Yeah, it's not a background listen track album either.
No, it's not. Here we go. Andrew says, first time hearing this band, love the rhythm, we'll be checking them out. Awesome. That's good. And he's also gone, I like bullshit time signatures. You're going to be happy with this band.
You're going to like this band then.
Yep. Darren says, Meshuggah, no one else liked them. Fucking awesome. There we go. Danny says, might give this another go with the lyrics around. Feels like there's more story than the song and deserves a quiet sit down with headphones and read lyrics at the same time. Love it. Yes, this definitely.
Yeah, definitely that kind of album.
Yeah. Immerse yourself album. That's what it takes. Nicole also said, I have heard them before and still feel the same. So there we go. Conrad says, I'm unfamiliar with Meshuggah's material. However, I saw them at Grasspop in 2018. It was the heaviest band I've ever seen. I didn't think it was possible for a band to sound that brutal. They blew my mind. It's probably a bit too heavy for my liking to listen to at home. However, I would happily go see them live again several times over yet. Live is a
Their bass player has a 4-string bass, right?
Yeah.
But he tunes it's F sharp B E A.
Yep.
So he's like an octave. He's more than an octave below.
Yeah.
On his like that's unbelievable. But apparently he only uses the open F sharp once in the whole set.
Wow.
But that's the point. Like, he uses it and it's just.
And the thing is, when you see them live, that ripple is sonic, isn't it? It really.
Oh yeah, like you feel it in your guts.
Yeah. When it's funny how the dance has talk when the beat drops. For these guys, there's that moment. Something drops.
That's the perfect example.
Yeah. It's just
as strange as it is. It's the perfect example.
I know. I can't think of another way to describe it, but that's what it is to me. It's like it just goes, like it just builds and then goes bang, and it's just wow. When it hits, it's.
Like it's become a meme now. But that breakdown in Bleed, that middle section, with that just total bullshit bass drum thing.
Mm-hmm.
But when that happens, like it's just the most. it's almost spiritual.
Yeah.
Like it's you can feel it in your guts when it happens, and you can't believe it's happening.
Yeah, fucking phenomenal band,
unbelievable band.
Yeah. Rowan says, "I'm a sugar curious." There we go. Says there's a coin for the curious. Meshuggah curious. I'll check him out some more. Awesome, please do. And Bell says, "I haven't heard Meshuggah yet, but now I'm not sure I should start with this album after Tim's comment. So what album should I start with?" There you go, Tim. What album should Bell start with?
I think the best album's Colossus, but also Obscen's the other one that's really good.
I would recommend Colossus as well personally, but I don't think this is a horrible place to start. I just think it's not as...
There's no obvious single on this album. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's no moment.
That's the difference.
Yeah.
Whereas with Colossus, like you do have...
There's a
track Colossus. There is, like I said, Do Not Look Down. There's Break the Bones, Just So You Know, Gave It Motion.
Yeah.
All those tracks where you have, like, there are catchy points to it that stick in your head. Whereas with this one, it is much more of a dissonance throughout the whole thing.
It's a more introspective kind of listen. Like it's one that you really do sit down with and just sort of lock the world away for an hour and just dive in head first. But
to me, it might not be a bad thing either.
Yeah, well, get you
what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. But Colossus, if this one doesn't do it, Colossus will probably be the one to go to, Bill, I would say. And Tim, I think you agree overall.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's get on to the last one. Our main event of the evening is the classic album review. So let's do it. Another big gear change. We do these every week, and we're going to go through the motions now. We're going to go way back to 1977. We're going to go to Foreigner. And the reference track I've chosen for you is not the standard Cold as Ice. I'm going to go with Feels Like the First Time. That is your reference track this evening. So Foreigner, Feels Like the First Time, in the comments, in the description box. That is what we're going to talk about here. And Danny's also getting into it going, lol. So, yeah, we are changing gears wildly at this moment in time. All righty.
That's what we do here, man.
That's what we do. No two episodes are the same, and no episode is all the fucking same thing either. This is, we go everywhere. So this is Foreigner with their self-titled debut album, 14 tracks, 55 minutes for the expanded edition, or 10 tracks, 39 minutes for the original. Debut album, the British-American band, released March 1977 via Atlantic. Produced by John Sinclair and Gary Lyons, with help from the band members Mick Jones and Ian McDonald at the Hit Factory and Atlantic Recording Studios in New York. 3 singles were released, including Cold as Ice and Long, Long Way From Home. This album went to peak at number 4 in the US, number 9 here in Australia, as well as has been certified platinum in both Canada and Australia, as well as 5 times platinum in the US. This album is this week's Patreon Choice Classic Album Review. So for that, if you want to get involved and get in the voting of this one, sign up to our Patreon page. The link to that is in the description box. I'm sure I'll share the link to that later on as well. But if you want to join in and get involved in the voting on this one so that we do these ones every week, join our Patreon page. That is the way to get involved in that process there. Alrighty, Tim, let's get into it. How'd you go?
Now, here's my review, right? I thoroughly enjoyed this album.
Okay.
I skipped Cold as Ice.
I don't blame you for that. Yeah.
Like
overplayed song.
It's very overplayed, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I wish I wrote it.
Yeah.
But I just get into that as soon as that piano intro starts, it's just like, oh god, here we go. But the thing is, I mean, it gives you an unfair, like predisposition as to what you think you're going to hear, because for the rest of the album,
this album, isn't it? It's the wrong bass line. It's not.
Oh my god! Like, Feels Like the First Time is the right bass for this album, to be honest. Because it is very much like this is going to make so many people mad. But
you didn't do it at the start of the night.
I love it personally, but it reminds me of Inner Speaker by Tame Impala. That was my into it.
Okay, all right.
Because I mean, look, I'm a product of the time, and I really like Tame Impala.
Yep.
But it's the Beatles drum sound, that late '60s Beatles drum sound with the T-tails on the toms.
Yeah.
With that beautiful synth, that really nice, clean, crisp synth sound, and a very and I can tell you their guitar. Their guitar sound is some kind of American guitar plugged into a Fender Deluxe reverb, put to about 2 o'clock, just so it's starting to crunch up a little bit.
Yep.
And then they've just sat there and worked on harmonies, and it's really a fantastic thing. And that's what I like about it. It's just great pop songs, sung really well and played really well. I mean, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Well, okay, I hate to say this, but it's unfortunate that Cold as Ice is as cliche as it is. But I mean, at the same time, I mean, I'm sure if you ask the band that, I mean, like, they've built a career on that song. So,
well, yeah, and in the context of the album, it works. It makes sense on the album. It's just not
and I mean, like, you know, you tell a story from start to finish, you know, with your track placement, and as a number 2 track, you know, it serves its purpose in that telling of the story of the album.
Yep.
As well. So as that, you know, staccato thing, and then as we've said before with you know, tension and release.
Yep.
You know, it's a thing, and it serves its purpose, and as it builds in towards the album, I mean, Long Long Way From Home is a great track as well, and War with the World, and as it just goes on, I mean, it's just really good musicians playing in a you know, they're just locked in tight. I mean, they're a great studio band as well. I mean, like, you know, when people talk about studio bands of the 70s, people often go to like Steely Dan or the Eagles and that. I mean, I think this sounded just as good as all of them. So
definitely.
So yeah, it's very hard to find. I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised to see it pop up on the list.
Yep.
Definitely needed a palate cleanser after Meshuggah.
This does that. It's an antidote.
But like I said, I mean, good songs are good songs, and you can't fault good songs. Having said that, I wish Dave was here, because I mean, there's no way this is more rock and roll than Dolly Parton. Come on.
You had to put that in there. I would have loved to have heard Dave go with Hellz Abyss and then Meshuggah and then this. Dave would have lost it tonight, I reckon. But anyway.
It wouldn't have been his night. Well, that's why Striker. That's why we were doing Striker earlier on, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, but look, it's a great. I think if you like if you like pop songs, you know, if you like,
but old
just good songs, man.
Yeah.
Like these are the sort of songs that you could sing in a campfire, you know.
Yeah.
They work in any context, or you could play them
back. They would work there.
You could strip them back and play them, you know, on a piano. You could do anything with these songs. They're just fantastically well written. You know, it's like how, you know, it's like the Happy Birthday song. You know, it's just cool. It just works. But it feels like the first time is my highlight, because I mean, like I said, I mean, the first time I heard it, I needed I just come off Meshuggah, and I was listening to it, and I'm like, I need 5 minutes. But the way that track builds into that last chorus, particularly with the harmonies and the way they pull things away, and then bit it back, and then finally you get to that last chorus where you get the full band playing together for the first time, really. Much like the name of the song, and again, you know, like I was saying before, album craft. You tell stories with your song selection and your track listening. I thought it was done perfectly, and I think it's a great setup for the rest of the album. So it's really well done. And there's other great tracks that I mentioned earlier on too. But 9 out of 10. It's like I said, it's first time I've listened to this album in full, and so long as I skip Cold as Ice, it's a great listen.
Nice. All right. Cool. You know, I mentioned earlier that, you know, this is a good 1-2 punch with the Hellacopters that we're doing tonight, and this, you know, this is, you know, without this, you wouldn't get that Hellacopters album. These, you know, they tie together in historical terms. This is an all-time classic rock album. It has Cold as Ice, and I don't blame Tim for skipping that song, because it is so over the top. think one of the favorite moments of me in quote unquote pop culture is when that song is used in the show Supernatural. I thought that was hilarious, but if you don't know the context, it won't make any sense, but it was well done. But if you hear Foreigner and you think of songs like that or the other big hits they've got, don't just gloss on by, because this album is so much more than that song. There's great hooks, great groove across this one. It's really infectious, but it swings probably a bit harder than you expect. I think there's a bit more balls to this than people might think there'd be. There's some really riffy stuff in this one too, especially what is it? At War of the World. That's a really kind of a much heavier track than you might think you'd get out of this if you've only heard the radio song. It's one of those bands that if you have only heard the radio stuff, they're going to surprise you. There's a lot more meat on the bone to get into. This was recorded in 1976. It fucking sounds fantastic. Like, my God, does this sound good? I mean,
it's bullshit, isn't it?
It's bullshit good. This is a debut record in 1976. Like, it has no right. And you go through the demo tracks on the bonus edition for demos. Fuck off. Like,
that's what I mean. That's what I mean. This is the peak of analog recording.
Yeah.
Like, time where, like, when you had, but like I mentioned Steely Dan before, because they're the sort of band where like you'd use as a reference track to test your speakers.
Yeah.
You know, and this is one of, like, you can hear, this would be one of those albums for a lot of people because it sounds pristine from the lowest frequencies of the bass drum all the way to the top end of the keys. Like, it's just crystal.
And yeah, it is a reference album. This one, what is remarkable about this one is just the absolute attention to detail. There's so much layering going on. But what you said about, the peak of analog recording, it wasn't just the method in the actual physical recording, but also the bands that would go into a studio. They'd have to have their shit down.
Yeah.
Like, they had to nail their parts because tape, time, all those things were ludicrously expensive. And you go to the demos on this, and you hear just how well cut those demos are.
Little things, man. Like, like, so when you're playing the drums, right? Like, nowadays, recording is different because they want you to hit your cymbals harder because everything's recorded pretty much separately, even though everything's together, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, they would have had, one mic behind you. They would have had like a 3-mic setup, right? Yep. Which means that guy behind the kit, he's got to sound like a fully mixed drum track by himself. Yep. Mm-hmm. So he's got to know how hard to hit everything. He's got to sound. He's got to compensate for knowing that what he hears behind the kit is going to be different to what the microphone hears. Yeah. So he's got to compensate with his bass drum and all that. The same thing with guitars, man. You can't go back afterwards and go, okay, let's just add a little, let's just crunch it a little more here. Let's say, like, man, you gotta control your volume. You gotta ride the volume up. To control your volume. There's no boost.
Between underdoing it and overdoing it, overcooking it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. And these guys had that down.
Yeah.
And you can hear it all. It's just really it's fantastic to hear.
Yeah. I miss that aspect of recording. I appreciate what digital age has done to everything and how things moved along. I get it. It makes perfect sense. But just the skill involved in these albums, I don't know if you'll get that again. It's something else. Like, a big band like this, it has a big band feel, and the organic tones, the way this thing feels and sounds, it just hooks you in. It's just sonically, from a mix perspective and just execution wise, fucking mint. Like, this is great. And like I said, a debut album from a band in 1976. It was tracked. Fuck me dead. It's just get out of here good.
That's the thing, though. I mean, we say debut album, but this, like, clearly people saw there was potential. I mean, it was recorded. It was recorded at Hit City. I mean,
yeah, and Atlantic signed them for a reason. All those things, but at the same time, this is the first time. But still, the pressure of the debut album for back then is pretty big. So because there's a lot of money being thrown in behind you to back you in, kind of a thing. So that pressure's there. So I really appreciate what they did with that. Just going back in time a bit on it. I love to bang on about that sort of stuff, and that's just me. Like little things like the panning on the acoustic guitar, to putting that to one side, and then the tone they captured on that is just fucking phenomenal. Like just so many little details, like the tones they pulled across the board, beautiful, and then they mixed it just right. Great lyrics, great storytelling. The use of piano and organ is fantastic. Like I said, it's got that big band feel, and those things really fill out those sound walls. It's not got the brass sections and that kind of stuff, but it just feels huge. It feels like if you saw this live, you'd be seeing a full spread across the stage. Like that's what it feels like listening to this record. I think the album flow is perfect, even with tracks like Cold as Ice. I know I said at the start, but it sets the tone near the beginning of the album really wonderfully well. But also slower tracks like Star Rider and Woman a Woman, they're well placed, and the lead vocal changes on those are nicely done as well. So they even changed the lead vocalist up to sort of, add more dimension to the album. I think the vocals are the overall focal point, as they should be, but everyone gets a little time to shine, but at the same time, it's all a really cohesive unit. That goes into what we were saying before about how, getting a band this tight before going to the studio is important. And this feels like that. This feels like a really tight band, all dialed in. Everyone knows their shit backwards and forwards and nails it. It's so well executed from performance side of things, but the writing is really complementary to that. And together, those things really make this one just stand out. There's great building in some of these songs as well. Like The Damage Is Done really packs a lot into 4 minutes. Like none of these are massively long tracks, but you're getting a lot of bang for buck in like the 38 minutes that you listen to the original album for. Like there's a lot of bang for buck, a lot to take in. And that's another side of this band that you probably underappreciate over time, or you should appreciate more now, I guess, when you go back to things. Like the writing performances in such like for a less than 40-minute record, you get a lot out of this. Like it's incredibly well done from writing performance perspective. It's lean. Like there's no filler on this at all, and every moment counts on this album. Like it flows so.
Less is so more on albums, man. Like
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why it's like bands once they got to CDs, and they're like, oh, we've got 80 minutes, let's use them all.
Yeah,
man, no, man, 40 minutes is perfect.
Well, you did the same thing with Arcane Saints recently. You timed it like 35 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
that's all you need, man. Like,
yeah.
Thriller's got 8 tracks on it,
Yeah. Well, we talked about it back and forth. There was some chat about with the Arcane Saints album to put the singles that have been previously released on the album. And I said to you, I'm glad you didn't, because it works better this way, And this is one of those albums still. Like the demo tracks are good. Like they're a good addition for the fans. And if you're just curious about demos back then, they're great. And the original song "Take Me to Your Leader" is a good addition to that. It's well worth hearing for that itself. Those demos are fucking wow factor. But just the way this thing flows, moves, is executed, and how lean it is as a listener. There's absolutely not a moment, not a hit, not a cymbal hit, not a snare hit, not a fucking riff, not a note. Nothing is fill. It's all got a point, and it just makes this thing such a joy to listen to. When you dig in, I'm not the world's biggest fan of Foreigner, but when you dig into their career, they've only done 9 studio albums. It's like fucking insane. It's like, wow, only 9 studio albums. I thought they'd done a lot more for how big of a profile they've got. But this one, impressive album. If you want to go back to your debut albums of all time, this is probably up there. This is one of those ones that should probably be more often in the conversation than it is for the best debut albums. So I gave this a 9.5 out of 10. I fucking enjoyed it a lot. At War with the World, long way from home, and The Damage Is Done. There is a lot of deep cuts in this one. Don't just listen to the singles, the deep cuts in this. It's one of those albums where those kind of things actually make it for me. You get the singles, you get the hits, they're cool, but the way the album flows with the deeper cuts makes this thing a complete, perfect package. It's fucking incredible. So, yeah.
You got to remember, too, 1976, man, that's important.
Yeah, exactly.
You're getting bang for your buck.
That's it. And this one has that and then some. With the reference track, going back to the comments here for a second, Danny says, love this song, so nicely done there. All right, Nicole has got a comment here. I love this band, prefer Perry's over Graham, but it's a tight race. Okay, cool, on the vocals there. Bell said, after Tim's glowing Black Skeleton review, I'm concerned for his thoughts on Foreigner's album. Don't worry, it worked out all right in the end. What else we got here? Andrew says, Foreigner was my best mate Tim's favorite band in 1977. I didn't mind them, but not a fan like Tim was. Okay, cool. That's all right. Conrad says, I saw Foreigner in 2019 at Rambling Man in the UK. Fuck. Couldn't believe how many of their songs that I knew without knowing it was them, and they were brilliant. Jukebox Hero is my favorite song of theirs. Nice choice.
They are one of those bands.
They are, aren't they? They're one of those bands you.
They are one of those bands. Like, oh yeah, I know that song. Yeah, I know that song. Yeah.
And then you go and see them, it's like, fuck, I know that many songs of this band. It's one of those bands.
Yeah.
Here we go. Darren says, love this album. Graham, what a voice. Yes, Lou Graham is a fucking vocalist. What else we got here? Sally says, I saw them live years ago. It was great. Lou can sing very, very well. He's the only person aside from Jack Jones I've heard stand up along with John Farnham live. Wow, that's a compliment. Their songs are feel good for me. Sing along warm-up songs. Yeah, they're good for those ones. There we go. Bell says 9 out of 10. I apologize for doubting you, Tim. So
I'm partial to pop songs, man. Like,
yeah, if it's well written, man, it's going to be good.
That's it.
That's what it takes. Paul, good to see you over on YouTube. It's gone. As soon as I heard this album on release, I was hooked. Nice, and cheers for sharing that too with us. Greatly appreciate. Love having you here with us tonight. Andrew says, I may have to revisit this after listening to the two of you. Please do, and let us know what you think. This one, yeah, don't overlook this band.
It's no Hellz Abyss. I mean,
it's different. They're fucking well.
It's different to that.
Definitely different to that. Danny says they were professionals. They'd walk into the studio with a fistful of paper, the song written out, handed out, and the band would smash it first time paced to learn music theory. Definitely back in the day. Definitely.
Yeah, chart rating, man. Like, that's important for a session.
Definitely. Bell again says, such a cool 70s album. Came out before my time, but growing up in the 80s, foreigner songs were played on the radio a lot. I can relate to that completely. Always liked them. So when I started buying music as a teenager, this album was one of the first in my collection. An aunt once told me that this album was put on at every party she went to in the late 70s. I could listen to Lou Graham sing all day. They're also awesome live. Saw them in the mid-90s. Fucking nice. Nice figure there. And yeah, you were one of the ones pushing for this one in the Patreon votes. So well done to you. You finally got it over the line. Edge Crushers on YouTube, classic album. Definitely it is that. Thank you for joining us tonight. Good to see you here. Danny's gone, shit, now I feel odd. I saw this on Countdown.
I should have worn a cowboy hat for you.
Yeah, that'd be good. Do yourself a favor, Molly. All right. And Bell has gone, another thing I love about this album is each song is so different to the next, and that is true. That's what helps this thing move. So no two songs are alike. It's just a great listen from top to bottom. But that wraps us up with the review side, and that brings us toward the end of proceedings tonight, which is not a bad way to go. We've done well tonight, I think, Tim. We've had a good night.
I think so.
Yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we get to a bin and get out of here while I do the details? Nah. All right. Cool. Before I move on to wrapping things up, Andrew's just gone here. I'm one of those who is happy to cross genres, love Moody Blues, Manhattan Transfer, Metallica, and so many more bands. And that's great. Diversity is the spice of life when it comes to your music collection. So feel free. And everyone,
you gotta get Skittles has arrived, man. You got to taste the rainbow.
That's a great way to put it, man. Taste the rainbow. I love that one. Well done. All righty. A big thank you to some Patreon supporters here. I'm going to read out some names. There is Tim Caterson, Sonia Donabella, Lee McDonald, Bell Wright, Conrad Collins, Jason Winch, Brendan Nellison, 16x9, Marty Powell, Sam Biondo, Trash Vegas, Carol Mallet, Gwyneth Richards, Andrew Hammond, Daniel Bateman, and Man Family. Thank you all so much for your fantastic support. If you want to get involved in that and vote on things like this and other stuff we get involved in with exclusive access to things behind the scenes, join our Patreon page. It's as little as $2 a month, and you'll get a lot of access for that $2 a month. The link is in the comments, and it's also in the description box for our Patreon page. The more help you give us there, the more I'm able to get done behind the scenes, editing-wise and production-wise. Check us out on Thursday nights on Channel 44 in Adelaide. The next episode airing on there will be our first of two-part series going as a tribute to Stephen Moore, the late, great Stephen Moore, who was a local legend for the Melbourne music scene. And then on Saturday night on Channel 31, we're on every Saturday night, Channel 31. That's part 2 coming up this Saturday night on Channel 31. That will be followed on with Thursday next week on Channel 44 in Adelaide. But yeah, that's a sad loss we've suffered amongst the scene. We figured we'd put a couple of episodes into him. And then after that, we've got... there was a theme, a 3-piece band episode, and then a by request episode. So Belle, if you're watching, I'm pretty sure your one might make the cut. So we'll keep you posted on that one. But yeah, for the next session, I'm not sure what we're going to put in next week yet. So keep on following us on social. So to that end, details are in the description box. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, keep up to date. That's the best way to find out what we're going to be doing in next Wednesday night's stream. And everything else out there as well. But the more you can interact with us, the better. The easier our reach goes, if that helps. And even if you do that by helping us get organic reach, it means there's less effort, quote unquote, to put into the social media side of things, which is tiresome. I'll put it that way. Fucking social media is a pain in the ass, but you got to do it. What else? I don't know. There's also a big thank you to our fantastic sponsors, Squidding, Stream Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description box. So make sure you give them a follow, a like, a share, all that kind of stuff. It helps them. It helps us. It all adds up in the end. So please do get around that and just interact with them the same way you interact with us online. And back again with another episode, a stream next week. We'll hopefully have that interview lined up with a review for Arcane Saints, and we'll get that out as the relaunch of the Deep Cuts section very, very soon. We'll get that all worked out. And there's more to come on that front very, very soon as well. So get ready. There's going to be a lot of stuff coming out in the very near future. We're working hard behind the scenes to make some things happen sooner rather than later, if that makes sense. But it is just, if you can, at the same time, be a little bit patient, because there's a lot of work that goes in that people just don't know how much hours goes into what happens behind the scenes. But we'll get there in the end. We always get there. All righty. We're not done yet. Not quite. Andrew says, glad you liked Hellz Abyss. I'm glad you shared it with us. So thank you for doing that. And I'm glad we got to hear it, because I wouldn't have known about it without you. And I'm glad, like I said, it was Tim and I reviewed it tonight, because we're probably the ones most suited to listen to that sort of music and give it our thoughts. But that worked out well. That was cool. Man family, thank you for joining us. Great show and reviews. Thanks again. You're most welcome, and thank you for your support. And Nicole says, thanks, guys. As always, you are more than welcome, and thank you for joining us. Now, before we get out of here, we're going to do a giveaway. What else? I'm going to do a giveaway. What we're going to do is every month at the beginning of the month, like we have tonight, we're going to do a Patreon giveaway. So this is for our Patreon supporters. And whoever wins tonight, I'm going to draw it out at random. Whoever wins tonight is they'll get a choice. So every month we'll give a choice of a reward. So there's these limited edition beer steins. Fuck, here we go. Jesus Christ. Hang on. Let me solo this for a minute. Timmy, give me a second. There we go. So these things here were done a couple of years ago now. No, a few years ago now. These were our extravaganza, our second extravaganza. They're limited. There's only 30 made. I think actually it ended up being 29 because one broke. And there's maybe about 8 or 10 left or something of these ones. So there's one of those on offer. Or if you don't want that, I'm going to put an order in for one of the T-shirts that Ginger put out for supporting Ukraine. When I put in that order, I'll put in an order for you as well. So we'll need to get in touch for workout sizing and all that kind of stuff there too. So those are the choices for our Patreon giveaway this month. So without any further ado, let me go down to my little thing here. It's going to take a minute to work out the logistics while I go through things. I'm not quite as prepared for this as I wanted to be, but I've got a random number generator numbers are assigned.
We do things without a producer here, so.
Well, I produce and talk. It's a trick. it's not as easy as you might think. So there we go. All righty. So just a random number generator is attached to the people that are everyone who is supporting us by Patreon. They're in this draft. This is a random draw. I'm going to draw a number now, and the number is 33. So give me a second here while I scroll down. So 1, 2, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20. 32, 3. I think that's right. So let me just count back. Just to make sure quickly. Yes, okay. So our first ever live stream giveaway for our Patreon supporters is none other than Tom Shannon, I'm sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly. Tom, I will get in touch with you via our Patreon page, but you get the choice of either a T-shirt or a beer stein, and that is coming your way very, very soon. We'll do another giveaway at the beginning of next month. But yeah, congrats to Tom, and we'll get things moving in that regard over the next few days. But yes, if you want to get involved, as I did before, I'm going to put it in the comments again now. Check out our Patreon page. Any help you can give us there is greatly appreciated. It doesn't matter how much you put in for this, but it all goes into helping us and gives you a chance to win some prizes every single month, as well as a bunch of other stuff there as well. So please do go and check it out. And there we go. Nicole is going, congrats, Tom. So there we go. Cool. Again, congrats, Tom. Thank you for doing that. It's the first time we've done that one. Every month we're going to do this one, so keep your eye out for more. Alrighty. But now it's time to get really into the end of things here and get to the bin and get on out of here. So, Tim, what are you feeding into the bin this week? There's
so much low-hanging fruit this week. But I'm going to avoid it and throw news.com into the bin.
Wow. Okay.
Reporting WWE storylines as news.
Yes, I saw that. What the fuck?
Oh, my God, man.
Yeah.
This is just lame. Why?
I don't know. Makes no sense.
What? Okay, I don't know. But that's the peak of it for me.
That headline you shared in the chat was fucking nuts. Like, what the fuck?
Oh, that one. I'm pretty sure they knew what they were doing. But the news.com reporting wrote for the first time ever WWE has a unified champion. And it's like, fucking Chris Jericho's gimmick was the first undisputed champion for 20-something years.
Yeah. Wow.
So just because they say it is, like they're promoting a show, but it doesn't mean that actually it's wrestling. It's fake.
It's wrestling, yeah. Like that's the whole point. It's wrestling.
When Ric Flair came in as the WWF as the quote-unquote real world champion because WCW didn't want to buy back the big gold belt, and then he won the WWF title, he was technically a dual world champion.
Yeah. Yep.
That was 91, 92.
Yeah. And that flowed onto the Montreal screw job because McMahon didn't want that happening to him.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Wrestling highlights its own history a lot.
Well, I mean, unified champion. I mean, when Daniel Bryan's WrestleMania, he was holding up 2 belts.
Yeah. It's not a new concept. It's not really. It's actually really not. It's been done a few times now.
Well, yeah. I mean, for WWE, I understand because they say WWE, and I mean, WWE is like Coke for wrestling these days. You know? but it's the name brand, you know.
Yeah, it is. I agree.
I mean, it's all well and good for me to say, well, All Japan's Triple Crown is, you know, but who fucking knows All Japan?
Yeah, I know. Not even.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But like it's just stupid. It's fucking stupid, man. So you do your like what? And they know it's wrestling. Like, is wrestling being fake a new thing?
Yeah.
Do people just figure out it's fake?
No. Mm-hmm. Some people, obviously. Like,
oh my god.
Welcome to the state of Australian media, ladies and gentlemen. It's fucking deplorable. All right, for me, I got a couple quick ones here. First up, Kane Corns, mate, you're raging hard on for Jack Ginnivan. It's fucking deplorable. Get in the fucking bin, you drop kick. What the fuck with? I get it, it's for likes and clicks and stuff, but mate, get some new content. You can't keep rehashing the same thing every fucking week. You dead set.
Oh my god, man. It's for content, but it's only like he's such a flog about it. It's only going to last a few weeks.
That if you want to talk about flopping and antagonizing people, he tried all those things and fucking came off worse than Ginnivan does. So fuck him. Like fucking hypocrite 101. Dead set more.
Mate, it's typical Australian football media. They attach themselves to the biggest club because they know it'll get them clicks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's fucked. Absolutely fucked. Yeah, basically football media and its relationship with Collingwood. Get in the fucking bin. It's just actually write some good content and you'll get somewhere. Anyway, my other bin's a little more serious than that one. That was the fun one. But I see this a bit, and it's starting to really piss me off. As it does anyway, but it's getting to a point where it's disturbingly bad. Probably always has been, but just how often it happens now is just extreme. Men who stalk or harass women on social media across different platforms to the point where they delete their accounts and get offline. Fuck you. And if you think this relates to you, Get in there, or at least rethink your actions. Okay, you do not. They don't owe you anything. No one owes you anything. Yeah, fuck, go on.
I think a lot of people, when they saw the Kanye West thing,
yeah,
on Instagram, I think a lot of people didn't realize how common it was.
Yeah,
until they saw that, like, on a high-profile stage.
Yeah,
and then how many people were like, maybe they've done that themselves.
I'm even careful as to how much I interact with certain people online because I don't want to give even the false impression, but I'm hyper aware. But just the amount of people you see, especially on Twitter, where people come up and go, okay, this person is stalking them across different profiles, messaging them on each one, and then they just delete their accounts because they can't be fucked. Like, who the fuck do you think you are to push someone to do that? I think that's just fucked up and needs to be called out. And to be honest, more men need to call out that shit because it's fuckwit behavior. Don't do it. Do not do it. Get in the fucking bin if that's you. Like, fuck off. Pisses me off. I'm glad that my wife and daughters aren't on social media that much these days. I really am. Because I'd want to kill people if it was.
It's a bit of a cesspool.
It's hard. Like, I have to be there because we do this. You know, I'm prepared for that. That's why my personal profile doesn't have a lot to do with my wife and kids and stuff on there, because I know that I live, quote unquote, a semi-public life, and so, you know, there's a lot of strangeness out there, and I try to insulate them from that. But fuck, really, people? Like, our daughter Tori was on one of those competition TV shows. She was one of the judges for one of those Snack Master things, and her Instagram went fucking off. Like, went spastic after she was on that one. She had to put her account on private for a while because it was just fucking nuts.
Wow.
Like, just stop. Like, it's not... Like, whatever you think you're going to achieve, you're not going to get there. It's just not going to happen. Don't be a fuckwit. Yeah. It's not that hard. I mean, apparently it is, and it's more widespread than you'd like to think, but fuck, it's really not that hard. Don't be a dick. Fuck me. Just sorry to bit, yeah. But if you want to go back to the funny stuff, go back to Kane Corns. Put him in the bin over and over again every week. I'll do that every week until he stops.
Oh, Kane Corns.
Kane Corns.
Fucking his brother Creamy.
Yeah. We've got some comments here, so we'll go to Andrew Marshall says United Australia Party in the bin. Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
They can fuck right off as well. Conrad saying, thanks for the show, guys. You are most welcome. Thank you for joining us. Hope you had a great time with us tonight. Rowan says, WWE has its first United belt. And in other news, Bouncer has opened his first lemonade stand on Neighbours. So nicely done. Nicely done. But Andrew's also followed up. He was saying, stalking harassment of women in person is worse. Currently, you're reassessing friendship based on feedback from some female friends about a certain person. Wow. That ain't good either. It's not good at all. All right, that's bad. I've known people that have been stalked before in my life, and it's not a pleasant experience for those that have had to go through it. Some people handle it better than others, but it shouldn't happen at all. It just should not happen at all. So if that's you,
it's a shitty thing, but it's one of those things where, again, we don't really talk about it.
We should.
And then when you do talk about it, everybody goes, actually, yeah, me too. I know somebody too. Yeah, I know somebody too.
That's the problem, isn't it?
That's the shocking bit.
Yeah. We're going off topic and stuff. We always do. But there's a stat, you know, when you break it down, that the amount of women that are sexually assaulted or anything like this.
Oh, it's astronomically high.
Yeah, and for that fact, every one of us men know men in our circle of friends that have perpetrated it. Just statistically, it breaks down that way. So, you know, if you see shit, call it out. It's just don't do it. Yeah, that's where we'll bounce with that one. Anyway, Kane Corns in the bin. Just because I can't get tired of that. Alrighty, we'll get out of here. I think we're about done. Is there anything else you wanted to do before we do run out of here?
Let's go listen to Meshuggah.
Move on. All right, we'll get out of here before we start, chewing up everyone's fucking time with our nonsense behind the scenes. We'll go and waffle on a bit off of the live stream. But thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you all again, same time, place next week on Wednesday night. Until then, I'm Andrew.
Tim.
As always,
let's drink up
and rock on.